What is going on, everybody? That was perfect timing. Look at how coordinated we all are. You guys are beautiful people.
Mine went down later.
So I don't want to mess up the audio this time, but we probably already have. So, as you can tell, we are finally going to do a video that everyone on this couch has talked about and has wanted to do, I think, since 3 years ago. Like, we are going to finally sit down and talk about everything and anything Avengers. Infinity War will probably get mentioned. The whole fucking MCU will probably get mentioned at some point throughout this. But specifically Endgame and just everything and anything. So this is entirely spoiler heavy. So spoiler warning on the screen right now. Everything you're about to hear is spoilers in depth. I couldn't imagine trying to do this and not talking about spoilers. That would just be a giant
It would be
waste of time.
a big blue ball.
Yeah.
It would just be this constant tease and
But plus,
nothing
I'm
good.
probably going to do a solo video on just like my actual review of the film that's spoiler free, and then this is where the meat is.
Yeah.
So
where's the meat?
So here we go. So this
they're from California.
is how I'm setting everything up differently this time. I have a very dysfunctional group of friends here.
Always fresh, never frozen.
Exactly. You guys remember... Oh, I already fucked it up. Okay. You guys remember Caleb. He was here for the Star Wars video. And you know Joel, or you may not know Joel. He was in the Fortnite video from like 9 months ago when we went and found the burger. And then, if you don't know, this is Cody, a.k.a. Cubawak, and he is a longtime YouTube friend of mine.
Yeah, hi. I'm looking at myself instead of the lens.
I know, that's like the hard part. But also, when we get going into this, you're going to kind of look at each other more than anything. But
I'm just kidding.
I hope that the audio levels don't spike as much, but fuck it, we're in it now, boys. So basically, again, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen Endgame, what the fuck are you doing here? Or if you haven't and you don't care, then you can stay and then see it, I guess. But it made $1.2 billion in 2-3 days, so I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it. So,
and it's still getting sold out.
Yeah, and it's still getting sold out because we were looking into showtimes again. So I have seen it 3 times now. I was in Vegas this weekend, saw it there as well. I've gone a lot. I went to the premiere night with all these guys. And also all their social media handles, link to Caleb's podcast, link to Cody's channel. Everything's going to be down below so you guys can find these people. Link to Joel's Twitter.
Joel makes sandwiches.
That'll be there too. Joel does make sandwiches.
Link to Joel's sandwich shop.
Yeah, link to Joel's sandwich shop.
He'll make you a meme club.
Also, like his DMs are wide fucking open. So
Hey,
This is not why we're here.
I will also personally be including the link to Joel's PayPal.me because
there we go. We got Venmo,
because,
Cash App, PayPal. We got everything. So, but yeah, so
Joel's looking for sugar mamas, sugar daddies, sugar uncles.
4 minutes in, still nothing. We're gonna try and keep this as structured as we possibly can, which isn't going to happen. This is gonna go on for a while. So again, you guys, if you are watching this, which, let's be honest, everybody's going to be watching this.
Oh, yeah, look who's in this video.
Grab a drink, grab something to eat, grab whatever. If you're cleaning your house, if you're at the gym or whatever, just sit back, listen, because this is going to be an entertaining hour and a half, however long it takes for us to get out everything we have to say about Avengers and Avengers Endgame, because this movie was
He thinks it's only going to be an hour.
yeah, I was about.
But that's why I'm saying we got to get started, because it's going to be hot, too. It's already getting hot in here. But,
All right.
All right, so here we go. So I'm not going to start... Actually, I think I will. I'm going to do it. I was going to start with one of you guys on your overall thoughts, but I think I will lead off in case I don't end up doing the solo thing. So it'll be a great jumping off point for you guys. But so basically, my thoughts on Avengers Endgame is that it is the single greatest
Here we go.
comic book film of all time.
Talk to him.
And it is one of my top favorite 5 films of all time that I think exceeds the comic book genre. It is a masterwork of creativity. It is the pinnacle of Hollywood.
Take your time, Pastor.
It is everything I could have dreamed it to be. That 10-year-old Dylan that went to the movie theater to see Iron Man 1 in 2008 blasted in his pants and cried for 3 hours straight. I have never felt more satisfied.
Did you say blasted in your pants?
Yes,
All
multiple
right.
times.
Carry on.
I have never felt more
Puberty hits
satisfied.
early for the Jones family.
Oh God. Oh. Again, I'm like, how far is too far? Let's go right there. That seems about right.
Blasting
So
in your
I've never
pants isn't too
felt
far.
more satisfied. I've never felt more, just a sense of emotional conclusion, a sense of just, I don't even know how to describe it. This to me is literally a once in a generation film. This was fucking fantastic on every level.
It 100% was our Star Wars.
Oh my god!
And I argue it's better than Star Wars.
Oh, much so do I. So we're gonna get into that too.
That's a good comparison.
There's no argument. That shit is better than
You got old heads going.
Y'all are getting so close. Be careful. I don't want it to spike.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
All right,
See, but if you do that, then it'll probably sound
Dylan,
great.
we'll put a compressor on it too.
We'll just turn this into an ASMR video.
Okay, we're not compressing the audio.
No, okay, no, that's
It's
fine. I'm
spiking.
just.
Hey, give
but
those white
so,
liberals some.
black hairs.
Yes, you can touch it. Here's my sponge.
Please cut that part out.
Okay, anyways, alright, so yes, Avengers Endgame was everything I thought it was going to be and more. Honest to God, when your expectations are already a 10, and then I come out of the film and the film's a fucking 20,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I
that's the
can't
way of putting it.
describe...
That's a very good way.
I can't describe that feeling. So yeah, so overall thoughts on the film. If you haven't seen it, what the fuck are you doing? Get out and see this movie. This is a once in a generation. You want to see this in a theater full of people that are crying, clapping, cheering, laughing,
This is the
everything.
one time it's okay to clap in the movies.
It is always okay to
It's the
clap.
one time where it's okay.
Clapping is
Oh, God.
alright.
Okay, so now
But,
that I
like,
said my
yelling
thoughts,
other things. Other things. Like,
blasting in your pants isn't cool?
I hate you.
Not
in the
at
movie
10.
At what?
Not at 10 years old, Dylan.
or in a movie theater.
No, I'm talking right now. I blasted in my pants.
Like right,
like
the
this
context you said it in
right
was
now?
like 10-year-old Dylan nutted.
you see me right
That's
now,
the
right
way
now?
you said it.
That's the way it is, and we're already there. And we're already there. 10-year-old Dylan, I honestly can't remember what he was doing, man. It could have been possible.
Besides nutting.
I don't remember what 10-year-old Dylan was doing besides watching Iron
Were
Man.
you
Glad that was
and
on
porn.
seventh grade?
Watching porn.
When 2008, when Iron Man 1 came out, I was 10 years old, yeah. I was,
Were you turning 11?
no, because I was born in 98,
All
bro.
right, so
that was 10.
Endgame.
That was my, at 2008, I was turning 10.
Okay, I vividly remember being in.
So, Cody, what were your thoughts about the film?
Yeah, it was 2008, so I was,
it was
not,
good.
I was
Dude,
in elementary school
I
for
loved
sure.
it.
But yeah, okay.
I could go
so,
on, but
we're
we'll let
going
Dylan talk
side
again.
things.
Yeah, Dylan's
But so,
Tongue, I can't really.
I know my
hear you over
thoughts.
here.
Basically, I'm sure that there's so many voices just going everywhere.
Yeah, you guys were talking about childhood experiences, and me and Caleb were
We're
actually.
continuing the subject.
Yeah,
I
we're
was
Endgame.
asking him how old he was, like what grade he was in.
When he blasted in his pants.
No, when
Oh.
the fucking movie came.
It's the same date.
It is the same. Yeah. Okay. Glad we got that part out of the way.
Cody,
early.
you're first.
Emotional conclusion yet again.
Thoughts on the movie? Go ahead.
Thoughts on the movie? All right.
Thank
I
you,
think
Trimac.
they followed up from Infinity War probably in one of the best ways they could have, because they end off the first, like, most anticipated movie ever for a lot of people, including, I'm sure, everybody sitting here when Infinity War came out. And they took that, they broke your heart at the end, left you empty, like completely destroyed. You are on the brink of despair.
He's like, it's on site, Russo brothers.
You are standing on the Grand Canyon, debating if you're gonna jump. If
Talk
you,
that shit.
you know, it's
I'll jump.
it destroys you. I don't feel too good, Mr. Stark. Like, they completely take your love and your
The
happiness.
last
and
light of hope I had is gone.
exactly.
I
they,
have no will left inside to carry
They
on.
take
Boys, we're
that,
talking about a movie.
and then they go to Endgame, and this void that they have created, they filled it more than it was when it was original. You know, like they
They
built
filled it
a
and then
void
some.
and they filled it with too much. You know, it's like we ate too much, but it was a good stomach ache.
I just
know?
stop uploading after this video.
Yeah, you really should. That was a
What happened to him? Cubac stopped uploading. Joel doesn't tweet anymore. Like, Caleb's still around, but he seems really sad. He's like, what's going on?
if anything happens to me, this guy did it.
Oh.
Just kidding. No, I'm sorry,
Endgame
guys.
did it.
Endgame did it.
But
yes.
maybe me too. Joe, what
Maybe
was
him.
your thoughts overall? Just overall, because I know we're gonna get like really detailed
Yeah,
into like
yeah.
theories and shit, or just like how we thought. But like
Yeah.
overall from the film, what did you think? What was your big takeaway?
That shit was fam. My big takeaway.
Just yeah, overall, like the
you
emotion
ask
that you
me?
left. with.
Oh, bro. No, like from start the movie. I like what Cody said. I took my feelings from Infinity War with me to Endgame.
Oh, for sure.
So I was already like fuck.
And that first act That first act is direct carried from Infinity
Oh,
War.
yeah,
So,
with
so the
Tony's
vibe,
in the-
yeah.
yeah,
So
basically
the vibe that you end Infinity War with
start all over
is
again.
what you start with.
Yeah.
But not even
Endgame.
all over. Like, it was a perfect continuation from the last movie.
Oh, for sure.
It was
yeah.
like you watched
Agreed.
a TV episode, and then you had your 5-second pause on Netflix, and it said starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and then you jump into
And then
that.
you jump right back into Endgame.
Yeah.
Start fucking me up. And then a sequence of happiness, sadness, excitement, laughter during the bulk of the movie.
Yeah.
And then, at what point did Dalton say we have 1 hour and 7 minutes left?
When Thanos bombed Avengers HQ.
Okay, once that.
Oh my
happened,
God.
It was on and popping from that point.
I knew it was last hour.
I think me and you might have
There
been
was
like.
a very distinct moment. I knew it
Bro,
was last
there were
hour.
multiple times Dalton was sitting in between us, but like mirrored, and there were multiple times that I grabbed and just
Yeah.
squeezed the shit out of Joel's shoulder, and I was like,
right next
"Do you
to
you.
fucking
Yeah,
see
bro, it
this?"
was- it
Like,
was
yeah,
crazy.
Cody's
So
right
you
next to me on
reached
this
over
side.
Dalton?
I was
Yes.
over
You
Dalton.
reached
Dalton's
over
grabbing
Luckily,
me. I'm
I
sitting
was
there
right
just.
next to him, so he could reach both shoulders.
Dude,
So
and then
we were
as,
good.
as soon as that happens, it was a whole row of us. Mind you,
was like,
our
what,
friends, we
10 of
bought
them?
an
No,
entire row of the
11?
movie theater.
I could count
Besides,
people
I
in the
think
picture.
the last
It was the last
two
two
seats.
seats, yeah. And then we had
And then
friends
we had
behind us.
3 people, 4 people
Four,
behind
yeah,
us?
because it was Josh, Noah, Nick, and Josh's friend.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
4
Mario.
behind them.
Shout out Mario.
And then, oh yeah, shout out
Big
Mario.
shout out
He
Mario.
didn't taper though.
You gonna give it to him?
Hell no.
But all right, so no, 100%. I knew going in from what I'd heard, the last hour of this movie was just the biggest geekgasm ever put on the big screen. So 100%. Caleb, what did you think, bro? What was your takeaway?
The day I saw it, I tweeted that it was the best movie that I've ever seen in my life.
You got flack for that.
And no, I didn't. I didn't get any flack for that actually. And
I'll show you the tweet.
oh well, I totally ignored them then.
But was he
Yeah,
wrong?
receipts.
No, he was not
But
wrong.
he wasn't
I
wrong.
still stand by that. I still genuinely think it was the best movie I've ever seen. And granted, they have a huge advantage of having 20 plus films behind this movie.
But they
Yeah,
they
exactly.
worked for that.
No, they
not like
definitely
were
did.
given anything. This is 22.
Right? 22.
Yeah, no,
Which
they,
also is
know
why
about you.
they say in the beginning of the movie that Tony Stark has been trapped in the ship for 22 days. It's the 22nd.
That's so dope.
I have
like
a
that.
bunch of more Easter eggs
But,
to tell you guys too.
Love Easter.
I granted they have that advantage, but yeah, I was about to say you're completely blocking
I
Dylan's.
couldn't see anything. You got so scared,
Bro,
bro.
you're fucking
Yeah, no, so
Nope. Nope.
No.
We're out of here. See you later, boys.
Sorry, Dylan.
Yep.
It was fun.
Can't do it. I'm out.
Not in this house.
Nope. Sorry. No pump goes.
That makes it so much harder for me to edit. But all of the SD card space is ruined. We knew that
Take
one.
position.
All right, let's get back.
Take position. Let them see how that jacket fits you, Caleb.
oh, it doesn't.
Let's get back in here, boys.
But hey, it covers your nothing.
All right. So
Get back in here and suck it the fuck up. We got Avengers shit to talk
All right,
about.
everybody.
Anyway,
quiet
what I was
together and
saying-
Will be the cut.
So, no, it's still the greatest movie I've ever seen. I have never had a movie cause me to stand up out of my seat, scream, cheering, with like tears in my eyes, and it wasn't the credits. It was during the fucking film. It's like most people like give that big like clap during the end, like during the credits and everything. No, the movie's still going on. There's still like half an hour to 45 minutes left of this thing,
Yeah.
and we are screaming in this theater. And you know why I didn't feel weird? Because the rest of the theater was fucking screaming with us.
I was talking shit.
It was,
in the movie.
That's why-
yeah, you were like,
That's why release nights are the best nights to go see movies on, because you know most of the people
are
there
the hardcore fans.
Exactly.
Except
they
that one
they're
girl in the
so
front row.
invested.
Oh, she shut up real
She
quick.
could have got beat up.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
she
girl.
got. There was so.
Let's not talk about
yeah,
that.
we saw premiere night obviously,
Oh,
but
crazy.
and there was a girl that as soon as the movie started, people are clapping already. As soon as you seen Hawkeye teaching his kid how to shoot the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Because people are hyped. I mean,
That
people
was
have been
such a cool
waiting
way to start,
11
too.
years to see how this story ends, the Infinity Saga, and then everybody was clapping, and this girl like very loudly was just fucking yelling at us to shut the fuck up, and like she's trying to hear the movie.
I can
But
imitate the voice pretty well.
You're in the wrong movie if that's the attitude that you go into this with.
Or
You're
at least
in the
the
wrong
wrong-
movie.
yeah, or at least the wrong showing.
Yeah, go if you don't want. If you want to know one, wait 2 weeks and go in the morning. That's
Yeah,
how you want
exactly.
nobody.
Go see the early bird
but,
showing.
she shut up real quick because she couldn't handle the power of 500 people stomping and crying and screaming. This
Yeah.
very much so. Bouncing off what you said, this movie is an event film. Like this is 100% what I call. It's not even so much a movie, dude. This is a fucking experience.
Yeah.
This is what you go to, and you're. It's like how people. They did this whole study on like millennials, but how like millennials nowadays, they spend the money, whatever disposable income they have, they spend on experiences rather than physical items. Which is why they're seeing this drop in like expensive things that people own. Like
why are
rise
millennials
in-
buying houses? Because they're eating too much avocado toast.
Diamonds.
like-
And the rise in like festivals, huh?
Well,
Like,
and that's
music
what I'm saying is like,
festivals.
so people would rather spend money on Coachella, on Burning Man, on like
EDC.
EDC,
Fire
like,
festival.
like exactly. But what I'm saying is like, to me,
TanaCon.
this film, this is something you go to. This is something you go to with a group of friends, like. I just people that you love, your siblings, your parents, your friends, your significant other, whoever. This is something that you go to experience because this movie will have you literally feeling every which way. Even if you have not watched any other Marvel film, you will still feel things. 100%.
I think it was the first movie I've ever cried during. Like,
Really?
films don't usually make me cry, but this one I had tears running down my face.
I have a hard time crying in movie theaters, mostly just around other people, but the cry energy was there. I just couldn't get the tears out. Dylan did it for me.
Bro, I was fucking
He
solid.
cried.
But you guys know, and if you have been following this channel for any specific amount of time, you'll know that I live, breathe, and eat.
You're
No.
passionate. You're
I mean, that's true,
passionate.
but fuck off. Like, I'm cancer, man. But like, I live, breathe, and eat like these movies. Like, these movies are more to me than just something that I attach myself to. Like, I was 10 years old when I saw this film. I have grown up, and I mean, everybody has their own demons, and everybody's gone through shit. But like, when these movies came out, up until now, like, my life took a huge change after that. And I have grown up and been in very different places. I've even lived in different states when some of these movies have come out. But that was like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been like the one, I can't say that, not one of the constant things in like my childhood. One of the things what's the next Marvel movie? There's the next Marvel movie.
It's how you like. It's what you look forward to each year. Like,
Oh,
the
yeah,
year
it's
starts,
like-
and then you talk about
it's
all
like
the
my
movies
reason
that
to
are
live,
going to come
man.
out. Yeah, it's literally the only thing
It's
keeping us.
the only
here.
thing
Yeah.
keeping me
Kinda,
here.
yeah, yeah.
But like, I just can't express that enough. Like, I grew up reading the comics. I still have the comics, like originals that I recently got, ones that may or may not have fallen.
Yeah.
But like, I just have such an attachment that other people don't have, which is like, I can be looked at in a very negative light. But it's like, dude, everybody has the stuff that they're into.
Yeah.
And for me, it just happens to be this. And like, this is
Yeah.
the things that mean everything to me. And so like,
It's a huge part of geek culture. Like, you
Yeah.
get
Oh
into
my
this, you
God,
get into
yeah.
Star Wars, you get into Pokemon, you get into like everything.
I'm
I'm
wrapped
into
around it.
everything, but this is
Pokemon.
not
Not on this
Oh my
one.
God.
This video.
Not on this
Do
one.
not. Do not, bro. But yeah, so basically I think we can all agree we all experienced this movie together on opening night, just right next to each other in every seat,
Yeah,
and
we don't
looking
like
at
any
each
other.
other. And me and Caleb from 5 seats apart 20 times throughout the movie looked at each other just like this, just waiting like,
seriously-
this is this fucking scene, man. This is the
From
thing.
once I noticed that you were looking at Caleb, I was like, I want to look at Caleb. So I tried, but I didn't get as many glances. 'cause they were
I
just-
saw you looking though. I was like,
Bro, and you're got a whole row of people
It's just
20
hard
seats
in a dark
apart,
movie
and like
theater.
You
one.
wore a pink blouse, so I start wearing a pink blouse.
Well, I mean, I knew that you were wearing the black.
oh,
shirt, so I wore my
okay. Yeah,
pink
no,
shirt.
I
We've
totally
all seen
forgot.
Mean Girls.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
I
like,
totally
never
forgot that
mind.
line.
We've all seen Mean
I
Girls.
quoted
Joel.
the line wrong, but I figured
On
somebody-
Wednesdays, we,
We
wear
wear
pink.
pink.
No,
What,
wait,
the-
this is- never mind.
That's a Monday. We wear black.
This is the only time I've ever been like.
He got hands. He got okay.
This is the only time I've ever been like, you know, at the ticket stand, like getting the ticket, like being ready, and it feels like I'm about to get on a roller coaster.
Oh my
like that
God.
feeling of like excitement
like,
and
yeah.
nervousness and not knowing what's gonna
Anxiousness,
happen.
what the fuck's gonna
Butterflies
happen?
in your
Oh my
stomach,
God.
Dude.
Like the whole like lobby of the theater was like buzzing with energy. It was just like everybody was there
we
for
were
the
just standing
same
in the
fucking
concessions
reason.
line.
Yeah, like everybody was there. Like it was like the movie started in 10 minutes, and everyone is like they know.
And speaking about that too,
That's
so
why I
now,
left you guys
so
alone.
now I
I
want to start
wouldn't
actually
for
getting
anybody.
into the movie because I believe it or not, this video is a little structured, 20 fucking minutes in, but I do have bullet points and things that I want to hit.
Real quick, personal theory that I thought of today as I was like going over like the movie and everything.
Do it.
Loki's still alive.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
not a theory. So we're gonna jump
He
into that
escaped
too.
the timeline.
Yeah,
He
and so
escaped the
he's in a
timeline when the
different
Tesseract
reality
rolled
now.
to him, man.
Yeah, and so trust me, we're gonna hit everything.
When I like I saw it and I was like, damn, like that fucks shit up, and then totally forgot about it until today during my
I don't
job.
talk about it anymore.
During my job,
about
and I was just like, holy shit, they changed it, and now he's still alive. Everything that happened before, like, is different now.
But also keep this in mind, that's not Loki from Infinity War.
Exactly.
That's Loki from Avengers 1.
Yeah,
he's
just
evil.
like Gamora
So
from
he's
the
evil.
original.
That's Loki that was listening
Well,
to
Loki wasn't
somebody,
always
you know.
evil.
He's
but that
mischievous.
current
He's literally
state
the
is
god
like
of
that.
mischief.
That is a
Mischief,
much that Loki leans way more evil.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know. If
Nowhere near a chaotic
that,
neutral
like-
that he was
yeah,
before.
not like that. But
No, he was pretty evil.
no. What I'm saying is, but not in like Thor 1 and then. Well, I guess Thor
as
2 was
as
after
far as
that.
Avengers-
But
Really,
yeah,
what
as far as
turns-
then goes, he's pretty evil.
What
Yeah,
like
he was
his
the main
his
villain.
peak of benevolence was honestly Ragnarok.
Yes.
Oh, that was when he changed for sure.
Yeah.
But he helped Thor in Thor: The Dark World. But
Yeah,
then he
but that
betrays
was
him in
like
the end.
that was like a dirty like help. Like
It's
it
a
wasn't.
switcheroo.
Yeah.
But,
So like. You don't even get that though. Like Cody said, Avengers 1 Loki.
Yeah.
The
It's the Loki that hasn't experienced anything. The last thing that Loki experienced
was a fat
losing.
L in New York.
Yeah, was losing the very first Avengers movie when he almost won, and then Tony Stark took a nuke and blew up the ship and screwed everything up.
Hulk fucked him up. Like
And Hulk, that's another thing that just happened. We saw it again at a different angle. I was so happy.
Yeah, I loved when they were like, all right, like when Tony Stark was like, all right, guys, quit posing around, let's go. Like, it's like,
Because
oh,
literally how
it's
that
so
end of that
good.
movie is them just like
Sitting there
and they're
posing.
just posing, and then it cuts to a different scene or black or I forget whatever. But I do want to talk about, because everybody that I've talked about this to had the same reaction, is nobody realized when the fuck the movie started. The movie just starts. Like there's nothing. Like all of a sudden it's like there's no build up, there's no production company intros or logos. Do you remember that all of a sudden in the theater people are talking or whatever, and then it just starts?
Yeah.
Like it just cuts, and then
it
you're
goes
on
straight to
Hawkeye and his
Stark.
daughter and everything. And so so it literally just cut straight into that.
It went Coke Zero Sugar, and then
It went Coke Zero Sugar, and then it went Coke Full Sugar. It went regular Coke.
Wow, jalapeno, that's hot dog.
I heard the aliens just like giant. I'll have a popcorn. Pepperoni pizza. Pepperoni pizza, please. We go to Cinemark. If you go to Cinemark, you know what the fuck we're talking about.
yeah, we don't have AMC or Edwards Theater.
Yeah, it's literally just Cinemark.
Weird asses.
We
But,
don't pay
unless we
$30 for a
drive
ticket.
we oh god, we just got
There's our
reserved
one
seating.
theater on the boulevard.
Yeah, that one's really nice. That's actually owned by Regency now.
That's what I
which
thought.
nobody knows about, so it always has open Avengers seats, by the way. But okay, so now I want to start getting into the actual film, like key moments throughout it. So this film, I think, is one of the most definitive 3-act structures I've ever seen. There is Act 1, which is dealing with the not the backlash, but dealing with the loss, dealing with the outcome and the I can't think of the word, but just
Like the
dealing with
after
the
effects.
aftermath.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Aftermath.
The first
The
act is very much
restoration
dealing with the
effect.
aftermath of
Infinity War.
which
Yeah.
I love because
You
you
need
can't
that.
gloss
Yeah.
over killing half of the fucking universe.
Yeah.
Like
you
making
can't
New York
gloss
City
over that.
seem empty
Yeah.
is such a huge
City
part.
Field,
Oh
Met
my
Stadium.
god, bro! I mean,
Totally
it's already
abandoned.
like
The
that, but
baseball
like,
fan, and
and
he was
so
like, "No more baseball. What the fuck?"
bro, that was crazy. And then like showing the current state of everyone you see, and then showing the difference on. Let alone, bro, you're talking a 5-year jump, which is insane. So now
That
the
was-
MCU takes place in
that was an intense
2023,
moment.
which is
Everyone's-
insane.
Can we
That-
talk
Everyone's
about
face.
the effect at
Like,
the
yes,
5 years
like,
later?
yeah, well,
that
we're
it
just-
had on
The
us?
first 20 minutes could have, and I told you this on the way home. The first 20 minutes of this movie could
Yeah.
have been the end of Infinity War.
I recall him telling me
It
this on
could
the way
have
home.
ended with Thor beheading Thanos, walking out of focus, and then cut to black. The end. That could have been Infinity
Can
War.
we talk about that for a second?
Yes,
This nigga Thor.
bro.
Look, they run up on him. So he's at home, butt ass naked, with some like dragon fruit type shit, right? Cooking, minding his business. They run up on homie, and he's and for a second, I don't think he fought back.
He didn't
He didn't
really
fight back at
Yeah.
all.
He was
Charred
almost
half of the
dead,
body.
bro.
He was
Yeah.
almost dead, and they're like talking. They're like yada yada yada, and then doink! And this nigga Thor was like, "Nope, I don't got time for this shit."
I
was
love
about
that
the
line when
moment-
Rocket goes, "What did you do?" And he goes, "I went for the head."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my god!"
I know,
bro.
but
And
but it was like your jaw drops,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because
you
you
did
don't,
not see
because
it
it was
happen.
it came from out of frame.
Dude.
Like they made sure to surprise you with it because they didn't put any focus on Thor. They didn't show Stormbreaker, anything like that. He was mid sentence talking to his daughter, going, "I should have been easier on you,"
Yeah.
and then just head rolls.
Oh, you don't come back for that. There's no redemption or
Yeah.
anything. But what's
And then,
crazy is when it happened,
well, your jaw drops, right? Our jaws stayed dropped the entire rest of the scene, and then it says 5 years later, and when I thought my jaw couldn't get lower, it drops
cuts
again.
back, which is
That was
already
the part-
powerful. 5 years later, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and
you're like,
right then and there, you heard everyone's theories get shit on.
Yeah. What the
you heard
fuck?
everyone's theories get
Yeah.
shit on because they're like, okay, so what are they going to do about Thanos? What are they going to do with him? How are they going to beat him? He literally has the most powerful weapon ever in the universe. Like, how are they going to defeat this ultimate enemy when they couldn't even do it at full force, let alone half?
Yeah.
Right? And then you watch him die, and then 5 years pass, and you go, I never would have ever fucking guessed that in a million years.
Yup.
So kudos
When
to
that-
fucking Marvel.
Dude,
When
and
that-
it's still just it just fucking cemented the way that you felt at the end of Infinity War. Because let's not forget the way that everybody left the theater after Infinity War.
Sick
Just
to my stomach.
Dude,
broken.
It was
just
quiet.
broken.
It was very, very
Literally.
quiet.
And then you think, and literally the movie starts and Cap's like, let's get this son of a bitch. And then it's just Avengers Endgame. And it's like, dun, 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 dun. And you're like, fuck yeah, Captain America. Like, go fuck him up. Like, you got Iron Man back. You got Captain Marvel. Like, go fuck him up. What? Like, what?
I know,
the fuck
you were
did
expecting
do,
this
man?
great, like-
And then Dalton even said too, Dalton grabbed me, and like when it said 5, when it cuts off his head, everyone goes, "What?" Verbally, you hear the whole theater just gasp.
Dude, yeah,
And Dalton
it got
goes,
loud.
Thanos isn't the villain. Thanos isn't the villain, which was one of people's theories, which is that Thanos wasn't the villain of Endgame. Which
I had that theory, but I never had like a fill-in villain. I was just like, I
Yeah,
don't think
there's a
Thanos is
void.
gonna
He
be the
had
bad
to
guy.
be.
he had to be. I
went
never questioned it once.
dead.
Yeah, there was too much on the line, and if he wasn't the villain, and if they had ended. Let's say Thanos really died in that beginning scene.
It would have been like Snoke.
So unsatisfying.
It would have been like Snoke.
Yeah, so unsatisfied, bro. Don't get me fucking riled up about Star Wars right now, okay? We talked about that for an hour and like 10 minutes.
But when
I don't
that
wanna talk about
scene,
It would have been
when
like
that
Snoke.
scene happened, and like I kind of saw it coming that Thanos was getting his head cut off.
Well,
Like
I
I,
thought-
think everybody saw that coming to an extent because he said
I
the
did
line.
not.
I
He
did
should
not
have aimed for the
I
head.
did not
be
I
that
saw him
somebody.
aiming for the head at some point, but the way they did it, like
Yeah,
you
I knew
said,
that they
out
were
of
going to come back
frame.
to that. I knew they were going to come back to the whole you should have aimed for the head.
I didn't.
But I thought it would have been in a final
Yeah.
battle.
Well, I
Yeah,
thought
definitely.
I thought that at the very end, which I'm jumping way far, but when they're fighting Thanos in Avengers headquarters and Thanos is about to dig Stormbreaker into Thor, I thought something was going to happen where he was going for his chest and then Thor was going to rebound some way and be like, "You should have
shoulda-
gone for the head."
Yeah, I
And
was
then
expecting
fuck
that there
Thanos up.
too, yeah.
That didn't happen, which that's cool, whatever. But
It's just
so
that Thor's stomach became the more obvious, bigger,
Yeah.
harder
Target.
to miss target
Yeah.
in Endgame.
But dude, like I can't tell you. Could you have put that in Infinity War? Yes. I can't express how fucking glad I am that they didn't. Because what a way to open a film.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
It's because they
what a
ended
way to open
Infini-
a film.
They ended Infinity War exactly how they should have.
Oh, for sure.
Like if they would have
because-
done any more, it would have almost taken away the dread
'Cause-
that they wanted you to have.
Yeah, because
yeah.
they wanted you pissed at Thanos that he not only did all this, but then got away with it.
Yeah.
Like completely escaped, and you watch him happy.
That movie
Yeah.
is his story, dude. The
Yeah.
Russo brothers even say it in the director's commentary in every interview. If you go back and watch Infinity War for the 1011th time, that movie from beginning to end, that is Thanos' movie. The reason why that movie ends where it ends.
God, your face!
Make sure to zoom in on that, Dylan.
The reason why you got it. The reason why that movie ends where it does, with him watching the sunset on a grateful universe, is because he is the hero of his own story. Every great villain sees himself as the hero.
Yeah.
As
That's
they're
what
doing the
makes
right thing.
Thanos such a good villain. Is that in a way, you know, he's not entirely wrong in what he wants.
Oh,
it's
hell no,
just
he's not.
Overpopulated,
in
limited
execution,
resources, things
he
you need to
made
know.
errors.
Yeah, that's the
You
whole
know?
thing is the best villains are the ones where you
sound
can't
motives.
really hate.
Yeah.
It's the ones where you're sitting there like in my opinion like Negan in The Walking Dead. Like it's one of those villains where you watch them and you go, they're so fucking good at it. I have so much respect. And yet like I hate you, but I can't fully hate you.
Yeah.
And the same thing when you say like a
That
villain.
was Baron Zemo for me in Civil War, the villain of Civil War. I fucking love that movie, man.
And like that's how you see like when you brought up the point, like, oh, like every villain sees themselves as like the hero. It's like the whole old saying of like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's exactly how every villain seems to pop up. Is like
That's goosebumpy. That's crazy.
I see my way as the final solution, and all I see is you guys trying to stop peace.
Yeah.
And
That's literally what it is.
And my favorite.
That's what he says too, because
Yeah.
he mentions, nobody else is gonna do in his own words, but
Yeah.
he's like, if nobody else will do it, I will.
Yeah.
Gamora says, you don't know that. And he says, in one of the most beautifully delivered lines in Infinity War,
Thanos
I
is
am
such a
the
good speaker.
only one who knows that.
Yeah.
And it's fucking so powerful, dude.
Dude,
And
their
he goes-
their
Thanos is a
delivery.
really good speaker.
He goes,
like,
and that's not even the end of the
movies, so
line,
is
because then...
Hitler.
Oh my god.
Nope.
He fucking took it there. Which is, I mean, honestly, that is a good correlation, though.
Yeah, and,
That is
you
a
know,
good-
to
that
be
is a good
real,
correlation.
not again.
to be real, it's a solid point. It's a
swear to
very
God, he
solid
bumped that
point.
mic
That was a
way
joke,
back
but I
down.
mean, yeah.
But like, no, but it
that's the
does.
thing,
It's a
that-
good thing. But also, what he goes is he goes, you don't know that. I'm the only one who knows that. He goes, or at least I'm the only one with the will strong enough to act on it. Saying that he realizes others may know this, that there are limited resources and the universe is overpopulated, but Thanos is the only one with the will strong enough to do something about it.
Yeah,
That's fucking beautiful. That's poetic.
They
man.
have
It's like
so many
Shakespearean.
solid ass lines in that.
Yeah.
It's like it's so hard to write well like scripted wording, but without it coming off as corny.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
cheesy.
And again, like-
they
Oh,
make
Thanos was
poetic.
the perfect character for all of those.
Yeah,
kind of
like
things.
the lines were delivered like poetry. They were delivered with like an impact, and at the end of it, you were like, "Fuck!" multiple times throughout the
Even
film.
when Rocket made the joke when Captain America was giving his little spiel, he was like, "Damn, he's good at that."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, bro. Which again brings me to a whole other point I was going to bring up.
Well,
This-
real quick, hold on to it. But just because there's one more thing I wanted to add before we move from this spot.
Go it.
Is
I was going to come back.
I loved the fact that they killed Thanos because it left you feeling this new low of hopelessness, because you sit there and you think like, okay, I feel hopeless because this villain walked all over us and then got away with it, but then you kill him and then you go back to a world that's still broken.
Yeah.
And you go, the
check
one
that,
thing I thought was going to bring justice did nothing but leave me feeling hollow.
That's
and
what
so,
I meant by cemented the feeling.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the one, when you leave Infinity War, you have the one saving grace that, okay, they lost, but Thanos is still out there and,
And
he's
we're
still got
gonna
the stones.
get him.
So there's a way to get everybody
It
back.
was like the villain was your last hope.
Literally.
At the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
in the beginning, they're like, "Pfft, you fucking
yeah, in the
thought."
beginning,
then
and
it's gone.
I got rid of the stones, and then you kill him, and it does nothing
And
for
literally-
you. And you watch them fall apart
Dude.
because of it. You watch the rest
more
of
than
the
others.
world fall apart because of it. You said what?
Some more
Lebowski.
than others.
Some more than others.
Yeah, and
Some Thor more than others.
Yeah,
some Thor than others.
That's good.
But like, and then on top of that, it's not just the heroes that were in the battle that were affected, but like it's 5 years since it's happened, and they're still talking about it like it was the day before. Like, yeah, I know it's hard, but we all gotta just get past it. 5 years have gone
in
by,
a
and they're
rundown
still
city,
saying
a
that.
dirty city, like
Yeah.
the other half of the population
In like
has
a-
decided we're out. We're not
and
going
like
to
a
take care of this
therapy
anymore.
group. Yeah, it was just like low and sad.
See, that's
The
another
population
thing
of New
too.
York is-
I don't know.
Population. It's the most. I think it's the most
I think
populated
it's 30
city.
million.
I think it's close to LA. If not, I think it's more than LA.
Well,
but
the city of New York is 30. The state-
Palmdale got 300,000.
I wouldn't know if Palmdale got 50 anyway, if I'm being real with you.
All of Palmdale just went.
no, but
Thanos was, it's balanced.
Like, imagine living in New York.
He's looking at Lancaster and Palmdale. and just,
perfectly balanced.
Like that, like 30 million people are there one day, and then 15.
Yeah.
and it's not.
14,998,000.
And it's not just
Fucking
like, oh,
crazy.
like, well, like, because honestly, the city could probably be run with 15 million people, but it's not just like, oh, like, okay, now these people just got to pick up double shifts. It's like you got to deal with the loss of your loved ones,
children,
your friends, your family,
Well,
your
that support
children.
group, the guy
New
that
York
Cap's
City's
at, that
population.
dude is dealing with the death of his husband.
Yeah.
and he's talking about dating again.
Yeah.
and that's why he goes like, "Did you cry?" And he was like, "I cried when I got my salad," and he cried before dessert.
Yeah.
Because you're probably dealing with two people that both lost their significant others.
Oh, you're definitely
and are
dealing with it.
trying
And
again.
half of their family.
Yeah,
at least,
gone.
you know?
And they're trying, dude. You're talking about the entire world losing
They
and
did a
people
good
that
job
matter
of
everything to them.
demonstrating that.
Imagine the tension that some people, and like the envy and the bitterness that some people will feel, because it's not like an even 50-50. It's not like I lose perfectly 50% of my family,
Yeah.
you lose 50%.
I probably lost
There's
his whole family.
there's a chance. There's
Exactly.
people who lost their entire family. There's probably some people who went unscathed.
Yeah.
There's probably some people
Like
that
Iron
kept.
Man kept Pepper and then got a daughter and everything,
Yeah,
but like, so you got people that
granted, he
restored.
had like one person, but there's probably someone like, let's say this actually happened in real life. There could be like I could have like had all my siblings and my parents and like everyone intact, and then like you could have lost everybody.
Yeah.
And then imagine sitting there and like wondering like, why me? Like, why did my family get completely wiped out, and then
you'd be
this
thinking
person's
that-
family didn't get touched?
You'd be thinking that on both sides, because if this was a real life scenario and this happened, and using your example, say my whole family was fine, but since Dylan's family already said they're all gone, we're just going to keep him as the one who has the worst situation. But if that were to happen, not only would he be asking himself, what did I do to deserve this?
yeah, you
but
would
I
have-
would be asking myself, what did we do?
You'd have
to
survivor's
not,
guilt.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody that makes it out would have survivor's
Yeah.
guilt, except like.
Which I think some of the
other
Avengers
empath
do.
that no one-
Oh, they
That-
definitely
what you
do.
guys just said is beautiful and a fantastic point. I mean, like, because that's stuff that they didn't really show a whole lot. But I mean, if you're really going to dive into the world that
mean,
they
I
set up,
think
that
it
is
affects-
something that
I
would
think
happen.
the
all of
way
life.
that they
Like-
showed New York City just so completely desolate,
Vacant.
so dead.
That's a
and you
poppin'
keep
city.
it, and you keep in mind, like, yeah, there's still half of the population, give or take. There, everybody's not only. Like, they're throwing in the towel. Who's left is like, man, half the population's gone. What do we even do? And they're all lost. And the state of the city, 5 years after, they still haven't done much, if
yeah.
anything.
And it's
it
like-
shows that it rattled.
Because they
of
probably
course.
didn't even know where to start
Well,
in the first
yeah,
place.
like think about it this way: on Sunday you have your whole family, and then poof, they're gone. Are you going to go into work on Monday?
Fuck no.
No, the fuck you're not. You're going to go.
work to go to
Yeah.
on Monday.
Are you going to go into work in a month? In 2 months? How long is it going to take for you to actually want to start your productive life again before
Yeah.
you're done with grieving? People lose one family member and their life falls apart for a long time. Imagine losing half of everyone you know.
Oh, I know.
It wouldn't be able to like.
And then just being aware
New York City.
that everybody else left is experiencing, like, literally every single human being, to an extent, is experiencing this.
Oh, everyone.
Like a global, it's like, what would happen if the whole entire planet was under threat of the same exact thing? It's that same concept,
And
you know?
This is a whole universe, bro.
Add on top of
Universe.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and add on top of that the feeling of helplessness these people must feel to not only know that before Endgame or before Infinity War even happened, that there were these villains, these aliens, these gods that could just walk all over 99% of all humans whenever they wanted, right? US military can't do shit.
Speaking of
Shield,
which, where the fuck were they ever?
Shield probably couldn't do shit against most of these people. But then on top of
such
that,
a great
like
question.
you already feel helpless because you're watching these gifted individuals who you call heroes
And
fight for you.
they lose.
They lose.
Yeah.
On top of it, not only do you feel helpless because they're stronger than you, and even if you wanted to help, you couldn't do shit. But then you watch them get their asses whooped, and then you watch half of the world go away. Why? Like,
I know, man. I know it's something
imagine-
you never thought that they would do in a movie, and they fucking did it.
what do you?
And they fucking did
do
it.
you even think that 50% of the population lived after that? How many people you think committed suicide?
Oh, dude, it's
Oh, yeah.
the ramification. That's what I'm going to say is going forward. The entire Marvel Cinematic Universe
Jacked
is
up
going
my
to be.
whole psyche. Was the
It's gonna be
happy
so
ending that
different, man.
happy? Because not everybody could come back.
Also, when they
Yeah.
re-snapped everybody, did they pull them from heaven? If you believe in that sort of thing.
Well, if you
I
pull
think
them
their
from the
dust
Soul
just-
Stone, right?
I
no,
think
no.
their dust just came
Oh,
back.
but like the people who don't know about it.
Yeah,
Like,
but
how
I'm
do they see
but
it?
I don't think they're not in the Soul World either. That I don't think the MCU is really diving into that. What
Yeah.
Thanos said is they just simply are snapped out of existence. They never
Mm-hmm.
even existed in the first place. But then Peter Parker describes it later in the film as like he remembers like fading away, like passing out, and then he just wakes up and Doctor Strange is like, "Come on, it's been 5 years. They need us," and then fucking orgasm.
His
But, like,
situation is also much different because it has been confirmed that that Peter Parker was the only one to feel himself die
Because
with
he's
his
so
spidey
strong
sense.
in his spidey sense, yeah.
You know, so
That's why he's like, I don't feel so good.
It is worth like considering. Maybe he remembers it a little bit better like
Yeah.
that. You know, he could explain it even to that extent because he felt it.
I mean,
everybody
all of
else
them
just
knew,
kinda,
because if you look back,
does?
Winter Soldier is like, he goes, Steve, and he looks down and fades, and then Star-Lord, he starts fading, and he goes, oh man. Like, so they're aware that they're fading away, because it shows that,
they
but they don't
age
feel
5
it.
years?
No, they're still the same age.
It was an
what's
instant.
shown at the end of the movie. That for them, it was... They literally, for them, well, this is what I said what I want to do. When Endgame comes out, I want to watch the battle in Infinity War up until the moment that they dust.
Yeah.
And then when they're all gone, I want to start an Endgame the moment that they all come back. Because for them, that was the exact difference
That
in
was
time.
their reality.
So it's like
So they
Spider-Man
went from one big battle
to
literally
the biggest battle.
next big battle.
That's if you really think about it. They went from like...
and they were
when-
still going hard.
That's
They
what
were
I'm
all-
saying. And if you look back, when Doctor Strange comes back into the battle with the Guardians and Spider-Man, they're in Titan. Titan is behind them.
Yeah.
The planet.
Okay.
So they literally they go
shit.
from
They-
Titan.
Wakanda.
No, everybody else that was in Wakanda
Where
came
he's
from Wakanda.
talking about on the
but
planet where
Oh, you're talking about just Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
the Guardians,
Okay,
the people that were on Titan fighting Thanos on Titan. When Doctor Strange comes
Star-Lord.
back through the portal, it's Titan. The
Yeah,
same
that's
I
scene
want him
behind
to
him.
get God
So-
powers again so bad.
So literally, so Doctor Strange
So
is the
bad.
only one at that moment that knows that it's been 5 years of hell.
Because he
to
saw it.
He
For
knew
them, it's
exactly
been
what
5
was about to
seconds.
happen.
And then, okay, so again,
Ooh, that's something
we're-
else I want
okay,
to praise him for.
there's so much more to fucking talk about, and we're already we're for almost 45 minutes, and
I
so
told you, hour.
and so.
That's nuts.
So you talk about the beginning. You talk about we went way in depth on like the overall impact of everything, which
Just the
is Act
ripple
1,
effect
which is
of-
Act 1, yeah, which is setting the stage for ramifications of the future of the MCU, 100%. So like the future films in the MCU, they're going.
It'll be that world that's
Yes,
just recovering
and so
from
it's
that.
it's
Yeah.
going to show the ramifications, just like how the Battle of New York that played a hand in Iron Man 3, that in Spider-Man:
Spider-Man
Homecoming.
Homecoming, yeah.
We're going to see this setting the stage, which all these branch realities, I believe, is setting the stage for Doctor Strange 2, which has secretly been in production for a month now.
That's
but we
so-
won't talk about that. And so Doctor Strange 2, it sounds like it's coming out next year. But so Act 1. I feel like we covered everything on our thoughts on Act 1. That's literally just Act 1 is just
effect.
Does that include
emotional.
my favorite character, Morgan Stark.
Yeah, because it introduces her in Act 1 when they go visit Tony.
Shout out Morgan Stark. She's the best character in the fucking movie.
Tell him.
Morgan
Tell him.
Stark is fantastic.
Shit.
That part when she comes out,
That's sweet.
Mommy told me to come save you. He's like, oh, I've been saved.
Hey, that was that's I'm getting ahead of myself. I was about to start talking about Rescue.
Okay, yeah, we'll get
Rescue
there.
is
That was a
dope.
clean wink. Whoa, I almost didn't catch that wink. He just
What?
winked, guys.
It
Did
was
you
an-
wink?
I have a twitch in my left eye where it just kind of blinks on its own sometimes without the other one. So I just gave him that clean wink by all natural
Because he
purposes.
looked at me for the rescue armor and winked about the rescue armor.
I winked at you because I'd like to see you in it.
I have a twitch in my left eye.
I do. It's not even a joke.
No, I know it's not a joke.
It's
Look
just-
at this. I'm not. We're not laughing
I'm
at
kidding.
this.
It's the
You
way
could
you
laugh
said
at me. I want you to laugh.
No, no,
not
no.
about the twitch.
It's the fact that Dylan's like, man, that was a clean wink, and you're like, wink.
Ain't no damn wink. He's like,
Passing out, man. He said he got ahead of himself, and then he was like, I was gonna talk about the rescue armor, and then he winked, and I was like, oh, that was like,
You're so subtle, Cody.
you gotta see from my point of view.
I am.
smooth, man.
From my point of view, I was like, bro, that was a clean ass wink. Like,
And
most-
I'm like, oh, thank you.
there's
I
some
didn't
people
know.
out there that literally cannot wink. For the life of them, cannot fucking wink.
Cody's like, I wink in my
I can't-
sleep.
I can't-
Literally.
I cannot intentionally do a clean wink, but we've seen today what I'm capable of.
Bro, I
am
almost missed it. I was like, I mean, it fit the scenario. So there you go, guys. There's
Act 2!
there's a good intercession.
Act 2, 5 years later, into the...
No, that's
No,
still
that's
Act
Act
1.
one.
Act 2 is
It's
the
well, it's
time
still 5
heist.
years later.
Yeah.
Act
Act
2
2 and
is the
3 are
time
both 5
heist.
years later. I'm gonna get
And so-
technical now because you're trying to come at me like that, and you're just kidding. Okay.
Okay.
Carry on. I'm sorry. I'm holding us up. Act 2.
Okay, the time heist. As
Act
we get
2
past
was
Cody's
so
wink.
freaking dope. I must say.
There's a lot
I'll
of
start
people that have problems
Right on.
with Act 2, and this is where I think this is where it's going to get interesting. I'm going to lay the groundwork, and then I'm going to let you guys jump off, okay?
Yep.
Act 2, for me, and for most of the opinions that I've heard going forward, Act 2 is where a lot of not only people's issues with the film come into play, but Act 2 is where a lot of the so-called plot holes come into play, is Act 2.
But I feel like all the plot holes are somewhat intentional.
Well, yeah, but also this was a point that someone had made that I thought is just spot on because it's true. Is would you sacrifice not having certain plot holes to not have the payoff in the end? Because you have certain plot holes throughout the movie, it gives you a payoff in that third act.
Tell me the plot holes, and I'll
Get
tell you
specific with this.
and I'll tell you if it's worth it.
Lay it out.
Because it would be really hard.
have it.
I feel like if the plot holes were that bad, where I wish that they wouldn't have done it because of the payoff, I would have noticed the plot holes.
Yeah, definitely.
It just
I hope it was like close enough to the mic so that you couldn't hear Caleb and you just heard.
and you
Okay, so tell us these plot holes.
Okay, so first of all, these are not my plot holes
yeah,
and my
no,
issues. I'm gonna say certain things, but like I'm gonna adjust
You're gonna
myself.
tell us these plot holes. You're
I'm
gonna
getting a
like
little
it.
hot on this couch right now, guys. So I'm gonna get more comfortable.
Just right off the bat, I feel like if the plot holes were as major as whoever's criticizing it feels like they would have been much more easy to
Yeah,
catch.
yeah. Right in your face.
But also, so here's my thing. Here's how I'm going to kind of justify and leap off on this whole thing in the first place. Anytime you introduce time travel into a film, there's issues.
There's always
it's
tricky.
Yeah,
always
that's-
tricky. Anytime you introduce
I like that time travel, though.
anything into the film, which I'm gonna literally give me 60 seconds.
We
I'm
gotta
gonna say
talk about the
everything.
time travel on its own. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's like a whole other
That's a
thing. 'cause
conversation.
That's but if you're still listening, I think this is gonna. A lot of people are going to listen to this. It's gonna catch attention. But we'll probably have to do some spin-off episodes on certain. Just pick one topic of the film and just talk about that
Morgan
specifically.
Stark. I love it.
Literally. But so
And they
there's a
won't be
feature
as
there.
long.
As long as this battery lasts, we're pretty good, man. We're still on the first SD card because I
Oh,
cleared a
nice.
bunch of space. So
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know how long the battery's gonna last, and we're not shooting in 4K anymore. It's just HD, it's 1080, which is all you need because most people
Shout out
shoot
YouTube
in
isn't gonna
1080
put-
anyways.
yeah.
But yeah, and so like I said, anytime you introduce traveling back in time, forward in time, things like that, it gets tricky. It gets all of a sudden you're like, well, how could this happen if this or that?
When
or
you
did
start
this and this,
entangling
like,
timelines,
yeah, things are gonna get tricky.
gets messy.
But I would argue, and I'm going to plead my case right here, and I've said this before, this is not a time travel movie. This is a reality travel movie. This has nothing to do with time other than them going back to an instance that they remember in a different reality. Because they state that the quantum realm, when you go inside of it, it will shoot you out in like different points of time that Tony makes those GPS time tracker things. But well, the way they explain it is very much like the Dragon Ball Z time traveling rules, which is that, and I'm gonna sound so confusing, but this is how the Hulk explains it. Which also Professor Hulk, none of us said that, but
Oh,
fucking dope,
yeah.
Professor Hulk.
really dope. Yeah.
sick ass
They
edition.
introduced
With the
it
tacos.
very casually.
Oh yeah, that was the one thing. Is like
I wish
there,
it
there
would've
was
been a
no
little bit, yeah.
Reveal.
Yeah, it was just kind of like,
It was
oh
5
yeah,
years
by the
later,
way,
now he's
I figured it
Professor
out. Now I'm smart and I'm the Hulk. I still
got
wish
smaller.
we saw the Beast Hulk. He does, because Professor Hulk is he's still almost as strong as normal Hulk, but he has all the
not
brains
quite.
of Bruce.
Yeah.
So it's like
not
I
such
personally,
It's worth the sacrifice.
It's not as
I
directed,
think it is-
concentrated rage.
yeah, I think it makes him a more interesting character the majority of the movie, but that last act, that's when I want World War Hulk. That's when I want Animal Hulk, when he's
Yeah.
just fucking everything
Yeah.
up.
yeah,
and
they-
Hulk didn't
you know
really
what,
do anything.
You know what they
Hulk,
should have done?
I mean, he did something. I mean, you can't say he didn't do anything.
You know what they could
No,
have
no,
done
I
with
know,
that
I know.
though is they could have revisited or like resparked Black Widow's death to him.
That would
Yeah.
end.
Or like
Him
have
finding
Thanos,
out-
or have like Thanos make a no, because he already knew. Because remember, he was like, "She's
no,
not
I know what
coming
I'm saying. They
back."
could have structured it differently
Yeah,
to
yeah.
where he finds out
yeah.
during the battle.
Yeah, that would have been
And
good.
it's like,
Or just
yeah.
like have Thanos make some like low blow comment to him, like
Yeah.
oh, you're even weaker now, and now like I like. And now you have like someone close to you that's not coming back, even if you get these stones.
The
like
reason Thanos couldn't say that because it was a different Thanos.
I know.
Well,
So hold on.
yeah,
So don't get off track
true.
because we're going to talk about that. And
True,
there's a whole point I
but
want to bring
like
up there.
even like something to happen to re-spark
Yeah.
to piss him off and just to go
Hulk
and
smash.
have him say one line of like fine, you can take control this time, and then have
and then
Hulk
you watch
fully
it
come-
switch
been
over and
doper
you watch
and,
him
then,
get
and you
bigger.
watch him turn
You
red.
only had to
No, I'm
say
just kidding.
two
That's
Red
General
Hulk. I
Ross.
was waiting for it, kind of. Just like
That's General Thunderbolt Ross.
I was thinking,
So
this is
it's
so nuts
different.
that anything could happen. That's why I was just kind of like, all right, it might happen, but
Yeah.
it would have been cool if he just said 2 words. If he would have gotten mad and then gets
Hulk
like the
smash.
angry face and then Hulk smash and then just goes off.
then
That would have
loses
been a
his
cool
shit.
way
Yeah,
too.
but to do that, you sacrifice screen time with other characters that I thought was awesome. So it's
Yeah.
like the Hulk has had time and time again in different movies, so I understand. But so what I was going to say is the Hulk lays out the ground rules of time traveling in this movie. Okay, is that changing something in the past does not change your future or the
Just
present
cool time
because.
travel.
Because, and it honestly makes sense, and what I researched afterwards is that I guess right now the primary theory of time travel is actually this, is that if you were to go back in time and kill baby Thanos, which is one of my favorite scenes.
He would just go back in time and just
and then he's like, and Hulk's like, first of all, that's horrible. And he's like, it's Thanos. But like, if you were to do that, that does not then change your present.
Yeah, because it's still the
going
past
that
to you.
that past then becomes your future, and your present then becomes your past. So it's like, by you going back and changing something, that doesn't change anything because your past already happened the way that it happened.
You've already
So
experienced it.
What you've done now is created a branch reality and that different timeline. So everybody thinks of time as this linear line, okay? And the way that they at least set it up in this film, I'm not preaching to you saying this is how time travel works. I don't
Darn it.
fucking know. I'm a kid with a YouTube channel. But like, in this movie, the rules that they set up is, but you going back in the past, it does not change your future. It creates an alternate reality, which is how they're able to go back, do things, steal the Tesseract, steal the stones, go interact with past selves, the fight with Captain America on Captain America.
That was so cool.
I can do this all day. Shut the
I
fuck
know,
up. I
I
know.
know.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I know. Which also, personally, I love seeing Captain America's character arc because he used to be that very,
Yes, sir.
Loki is on the 3rd floor or
He
whatever.
was like
and in this
the-
movie,
the
you
Boy
see
Scout.
that he's broken down
Yeah.
because the old Captain America from Avengers 1 would never say, "Let's get this son of a bitch." Like
Yeah.
he
He
would
didn't
never
curse.
say that. He didn't curse.
He
And
said
then-
hell. What did he say there? Like, oh my god, watch your mouth.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Age of Ultron
Even when
language.
he-
Yeah.
The language.
Even when he said, "That is America's ass."
Yeah, that's
Even
not
that
Captain
would just
America,
show how
man.
much he's like
Yeah.
loosened up under all of the tension of like
Yes.
the world's basically done. You know,
You can tell
Once
it's
whatever
not
it
him,
takes.
man.
Once he grew his
Whatever
beard
it
out in
takes.
Civil War, that's when it started.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. And then after watching everybody
Civil
die,
War was
living through
very
5
much his
years,
turning point.
like, oh, for sure. And because that's when you see the guy who's anti-government become pro-government, and the guy that was pro-government become anti-government. You see a full role reversal.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I fucking love Civil War, which again will probably be a video for a different day. But so everybody's things are like, okay, so Loki getting the Tesseract, disappearing into space wherever. That now, in some way, means that Loki is alive again.
It's a
Of
gate
course.
left open.
And
It's a
that-
gate
yeah,
left open,
that's-
which they're saying is the setup for the Loki standalone show, which is coming to Disney Plus, which Tom
Yeah, I
Hiddleston
remember
is
hearing
starring
about that.
in. And they said that
would
it's
make
going
sense.
to be a
That'd
show
be
about
cool.
Loki going to different historical events in time, in humanity, and in the MCU.
And leaving his mark.
Now that he has the Space Stone, he's able to do that because you got to think about this is Loki in 2012 with the Space Stone, meaning we have 2012 to 2023 for Loki to use the Space Stone to jump around to and appear in. That's going to be the Loki show on Disney Plus. Supposedly, I think that's what they're setting up because in our main MCU reality,
That whole timeline got.
it gets super confusing,
Yeah.
dude. Anytime you introduce this, it's gonna get sticky. But in our main MCU timeline, Loki is still dead.
Yeah.
They can probably find a way, just like how Gamora died. She is dead, but they
Yeah.
still found a way to bring her back here.
It was just a different one.
and
Yeah,
like,
it was
It
and
was a different,
different one.
version or earlier
But
version.
which is why I do feel that they didn't obey their own rules that they set up of time travel in the movie. That he's saying that you interacting, doing whatever, cannot affect your future. When they go back and do something, it can't affect the future. We see, at least in my top of my head, 2 different instances that go directly against what Hulk said, which is Captain America going back in time at the very end and then appearing there by the lake at the end. That does not make
that
any
did break
sense.
the rules
That
of
does
time
not make any
travel.
sense because
He
by
should've been
him
on a
going back,
different timeline.
he should have been on a completely different timeline. If he went back and stayed with Peggy, he should have never been back. He should have just been gone. His future would have been leaving, going to that different reality. he was gone. He was now he's in a different place. He can't go back
because then
and live
that
up
would
to them.
that would mean that that would mean that you could affect
The
your reality.
only way
Exactly.
that makes sense is if it happened on every single timeline.
Or if he since had that technology came back to that reality, but I'm pretty sure it's stated in the film that the quantum realm cannot travel between realities. It's points in time of that reality. You can't go to these different realities,
Which is quite
and so
incorrect,
it's like, which is
Justin.
there's a lot of inconsistency there. And then at the end, when they go back to 2014, Thanos captures Nebula. And we lost another. And don't do it again. We have too much time.
Okay.
And so we're on too much precious borrowed time, almost an hour. But when Thanos has Nebula on his ship and has evil Nebula there and everything, and they knock out Peter Quill. So Peter Quill then does not get the Power Stone, which then sets off the events of Guardians of the Galaxy. So that is now a different branched reality, okay? It doesn't make any sense for Thanos to be able to then come to 2023 and attack the headquarters for him to go to this completely different reality. But if you want to get super technical about it, I guess maybe it does make sense because Captain America at the end is going back in time to put the stones back the moment that they were taken. He specifically says, clip all the branches. Clip all the branches.
That didn't get fixed though.
And which we'll talk about that in a second. And so you could say that Captain America goes back, puts the Power Stone back, so that Peter Quill still ends up getting the Power Stone. Guardians plays out the same. Everything plays out the same.
That's a big if.
That's a big if. Also, Captain America, how the fuck do you return the Soul Stone? The Soul Stone is protected by the Red Skull, which is Captain America's arch nemesis. So now you're telling me that Captain America went face to face with his arch nemesis from 1945 on Boromir, and we don't hear anything about it. We don't know. That is Captain America's
That is the
villain.
reason he'd never had Peggy. That's the reason he even had the incentive to go back in time.
That
and
is the
lose
reason why he got
everything.
trapped in the ice.
Yeah.
Is the Red Skull fighting him in the ship. So that's a huge thing, okay? Also, you talk about all these different plot holes. I don't really want to say plot holes, but they're kind of plot holes. Yes, there's kind of things that are like, okay, you establish these rules of time travel, but then you don't really follow a lot of these rules of time travel.
I think the biggest one that struck me so far is Captain America being old in the same reality.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Same,
does not make
definitely.
any sense. And so it's like, if you think about the
Or
way
you-
that they're supposed to say it. Because then,
You could even play that off as Loki.
which you never know, but then it's like, everything that they did, everything that they did in the past should, if we're going off of Captain America appearing at the end, then everything that they did in the past
Should affect their
should
present.
have affected their future. When I probably made a noise. When they came back, there should have been changes. Because now we're seeing Captain America affecting their reality.
Mm-hmm.
So, listen, that's what I mean by. Excuse me.
And
I
it should
know
have been
y'all heard that
instant. Like
word.
as soon as Loki teleports, everything should have changed right then and there because
Yes.
then their reality is different.
If the rules are the way that they said that they were, because otherwise, by Loki disappearing with the Tesseract, if the rules were what the Hulk said, then it's fine. Then it's like, okay, he's doing his own thing. He's in a different
then it's
reality.
branching off.
It's branching off.
I
so
feel
that's
like
fine.
the only time
But-
it really like kind of contradicted itself is like Caleb said was with the Captain America being old on the same timeline, because other than that there's nothing that necessarily screams. I'm sure you could look in, like you were saying, people are finding things, but nothing really screams like, oh well, you end up on the same timeline, except that everything else they did all of that, but
And you
the
could- you
world
could
was
write
still
it
where
off.
it was, you know?
Remember what the Sorcerer Supreme was explaining to Professor
Yeah, when you
Hulk?
take one stone out.
They went back to the 70s at the army base and took their Tesseracts, and then now Loki has the
No,
one
yeah,
from-
the timeline
But
where
then
Loki
Cap
took
went back
it,
and puts the Tesseract
but
back.
listen,
70s.
only
then-
one of the Tesseracts could return because two timelines lost their Tesseract. One, Loki took it and disappeared. The second one, they took it. So I'm assuming
But
when
they
he
put it back
returned
on.
it, he returned it to the 1970s,
He
and
did.
then that's the last one he returned. He
Yeah.
stayed there with Peggy. But that means the timeline where Loki picked it up and disappeared, that timeline is completely screwed. They can't fix that because they don't have two.
'Cause they
Yeah,
lost
Loki
two.
has the Tesseract.
They don't have two Tesseracts to return, you know?
Yeah.
So one of those had to stay missing, and I'm willing to bet, like you said, for the Loki show or for whatever they decide to take it, a direction they take it,
Yeah,
it's the Loki reality that didn't get fixed. Because that's
Yeah,
the one they didn't
yeah.
That
take
makes
it
a
from.
lot of sense.
Oh, for sure. And so that's what I mean, as in, there are plot holes that are introduced in the second act. There are issues that people have with the second act. But, like I said, the guy, John Campea, if you don't listen to John Campea, that is one of my favorite film pundits, a guy that we've listened to before. I love him very much. He says, would you sacrifice these plot holes for the payoffs? Meaning that, would you not have that moment between old Cap and Sam at the end by the lake in order for them to stick with the time travel line, with the rules? It's basically saying, would you sacrifice the plot holes for the payoffs? Because to me, it's like, you know what, man, we could sit here and nitpick all like, well, how this or how whatever.
But that was a cool moment.
But that was such a cool moment.
So
it was such a deserving moment.
I think I might have. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I might have found the solution for this plot hole. And
he's been thinking a lot over there.
So when you
got to think his face on.
So let's say this. Say you're who's one of the ones that went back? Iron Man. So you're Iron Man, and you go back in time and do this whole thing, right? And then you snap back to your reality, back on that platform that they created specifically for time travel. Say he was gone. Say like that entire mission took him an hour. Has he aged an hour? Because his body's gone through an hour's worth of time and work. Maybe not in his reality, but his body has aged an hour.
They say specifically Ant-Man that time works so differently in the quantum realm. So it's like
because 5 years.
Because wasn't the wife of the scientist, I forget the Pym, Hank Pym's wife, wasn't she old even though she was in the quantum realm for a really long time?
Yeah.
So time still passes for the person. So if Captain America went back in time, lived his entire life, and then when he was done, came back with his wrist GPS thing, then he would have came back just seconds later, but his body would have lived a lifetime.
That's another.
No. So you're right, but then that's what I said is like Captain America would have then had to travel back in time. Then
once he came back, I believe it was after Peggy had passed naturally.
Yeah.
So obviously
then
he had lived his life.
His reasoning is for being back is gone. So now he has a reason to go back to his original time. And he comes back. It's only been a few moments, and now you see that he's aged.
Nobody noticed the old man sitting there before Hulk hit the button to bring him back. So it's a little weird that he didn't show up on the platform.
Yeah.
But
that would be the only thing.
That's the only thing. And also, because this theory has been talked about as well, like I said, it would mean that he then used the technology to come back at that moment being the old guy living his life. Which, now this will screw with you for a second too, because this is something they can totally do. I do believe that for the most part, Chris Evans is done as Captain America.
I agree.
For the most part.
Me too.
But this is something they can do. This is future. Remember in the beginning of the movie, which I think this may or may not be them setting something up, is they specifically show that there's a paradox with time travel, that you can make time travel through the person and not the other way around. Captain America now lived an entire life with Peggy and is back in our reality, meaning all he has to do is get back on that platform and Hulk can de-age him back to Captain America. Backed by putting time through him. We saw old man Ant-Man, Ant-Man, boy Ant-Man. He has to go back on there. Boom, 3 seconds. We have Captain America back again. But what tells me that they will not do that is him giving the mantle
shield
to Sam.
Well, the only thing that would make them do that would be if he turns into his other persona, which I can't remember now, but I know you're talking.
Well, there's
old
old man Cap.
No. Because remember when we said Captain America was in Civil War and he had a beard and he had a different shaped shield and he wasn't Captain America anymore. He was someone else.
They already did that. That was Nomad.
Okay.
He was Nomad. He was Nomad at Infinity War.
And there's no other personas that he
was known as like the Nomad.
Yeah, and there's no other personas that he can that he has, like how Hawkeye had Ronin. There's no other like ones in the comics that they could play off of.
There's like the Hydra version of Captain America, because there is a version of the comics recently where Captain America becomes an agent of Hydra, which is what that reference when he says "Hail Hydra." Beautiful fucking scene. Super cool scene.
Dude, he was the MVP of the entire time travel.
Alcohol director, don't worry about it.
Yeah, Hail Hydra, and I was like, oh,
dude,
and
because they set it up perfectly to seem like he was going to do the same fight,
bro,
same exact actor, same
from
everything.
the Winter Soldier. Because you got to talk about, dude, as beautiful as this movie is, 100%, and I do not mean this in a bad way. This movie is fan service. It is callbacks to everything.
Oh, that's why I said it has
it's paying off everything.
The second act,
and the third, when everyone.
Well, that's why I said the reason this movie is the greatest movie that I've ever seen is a big part of the advantage that they have of having 21 films behind it. They have so much that they can play off. Everything is parabolic or correlating. Or,
Which,
what'd you say?
again,
Those were some of my favorite scenes to watch too, just because seeing the people very aware of what's going on and then watching the same actors act out the scenes as if they're completely oblivious to what's going to happen in the future, you know, because they're from Avengers 1 timeline and then Peter Quill from the beginning of Guardians, and then the only one that wasn't really too like, whoa, we're back here again, was like the Soul Stone. But how do you do that really unless they go back to the moment Thanos is throwing Gamora off, which obviously they wouldn't do
It gave the audience a chance to relive the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
In the conclusion of the film, you're going back to the very first Avengers, the very first Guardians. You're going back to Asgard, whether it be Thor 2, which your opinion, most people believe is one of the worst MCU films, is the
Which
Dark
is still
World.
better than most of the Marvel films prior to MCU.
Oh, exactly.
It was very
but
forgettable.
I love that they not only accepted like the Dark World, but they embraced it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, the Dark World happened, and that introduced the ether, the reality stone. So we're going back to that because that is very. But someone also brought up how how Scarlet Witch says that, or not Scarlet Witch, Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow says that if you go back to the right time, there's 3 stones in New York.
Yeah.
Well, if you go back to the right time, there's 2 stones with the Collector, the Power Stone and the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have had to branch off to get the 2. So because
But there is no way. Well, one, I don't think they knew about the.
That's the thing is they didn't is Thor knew,
yeah.
But Thor did not know that the Guardians were there selling the Power Stone, and the Guardians did not know that the Collector had already had the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like
2, he
there was
wasn't
2
going to
there.
give him that shit either.
So even after
They would have taken
everything,
it.
They
were
could
like,
beat him up for
Yeah,
it.
they would have taken it, but that's fair. So that instantly disproves anything, or that kind of closes that plot hole.
Yeah, because you go, oh shit, but then you realize the lack of information from both parties would never have had them bring
Also,
it up.
Thor was not in the best mental state for that.
oh yeah,
but
he was,
Bro,
So-
he was
so-
like, I can't do this.
yeah.
dude,
So
Thor,
regardless,
it was so bittersweet seeing.
So I was
Thor
going to say
that.
is, I was like, let's take a second to talk about Thor because I know I was rambling a lot about the whole time travel thing. I personally loved the second act. I think that to me the second act is the actual movie.
Yeah.
The first act is like the ramifications of Infinity War.
Yeah,
the
so that
last
has to do
act
more with Infinity
is-
War than
last
Endgame.
The last act
It's an hour-long climax.
Yeah, the last act is an hour-long climax,
Yeah,
and it's
one big
tying
nut.
the bow on
Like
the
Dylan
entire
in
universe.
the first Avenger Man's movie. in
Exactly.
theater.
The first Avenger Man.
Just one big climax.
Iron Man. But the second act to me is actually the plot of this movie. It is Endgame.
It's
which
how we're going to get this done.
Exactly. It is the Avengers
It
getting all the
explains
stones. It's
all of
getting
your
everything.
like if you were to watch like the first act of Avengers after like let's say we saw Infinity War, right? And for some reason Endgame was already filmed and produced and ready.
Yeah.
And then they took us into a secret room and they're like, we're only going to show you 2 acts. Which ones do you want to see? First, second, or third? Say we picked first and third, we would still have no fucking idea how it worked.
Yeah.
And so you watch the first one, and it's basically just like Infinity War Part 2, and then you watch the third one, and it's the solution with an amazing battle, and you get to see who dies.
Yeah.
But everything, you still don't know what Endgame is about.
Yeah, everything important.
Yeah. You watch the battle that you knew was coming, and you watch the ramifications that you knew was coming. But the shit that needed answering, all the questions we were left with, are all in the middle.
And on
You
top
need the
of
whole
that,
movie, really.
it gives you
Well, yeah.
so much more character depth in these little moments that I think are glossed over. So since I want to talk about Thor for a second because he has a time with it, I thought the Thor shit was funny as hell, and then I thought it got really dragged out, and then I thought it was like they really just kind of gave the middle finger to Thor this whole movie, and then. That started bouncing.
They
a
want
little
to
bit.
make Thor funny so bad they did it in Ragnarok too.
No. But in Ragnarok,
it's a
I
good
think
character
fucking
arc to him.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 'cause it
Ragnarok
shows how
is
much he's
amazing.
changed.
But so here's my thing. I have now seen this movie 3 times. Okay, I wanted to go again tonight. I probably won't. I'm gonna do this thing, but I'll
bathroom
probably go
breaks?
tomorrow. Still have never gone to the bathroom.
No, I'm talking about for me. Can I go to the bathroom?
Oh, with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you're good. Go to the bathroom. Yeah.
It's back.
No,
Yeah, I got
you're
you, bro. Don't. No.
We're taking turns.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Thank you.
No worries. We're at an hour and 10 minutes in on this thing, guys. Look at how ginormous my ears look. I know that.
That static was that nuts?
Jeez.
I heard it.
He just.
That's not a
of
bathroom. That's a
Thor.
closet.
Oh my
You know where the bathroom is, Joel?
It's downstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're about to hear the loud ass door. Just rip it, Joel.
That was nothing.
Squeak.
I lied.
Okay, so so we're gonna continue while
Yeah,
he's gone. That's
Thor.
the sacrifice of the bathroom break.
That's happened.
So
Yes.
Thor. So I've now seen this movie 3 times. Okay, my feelings towards Thor have changed very much. Listening to some different opinions and seeing the movie multiple times now, I actually am a big fan of what they did with his character.
I've been a big fan of it since the first get-go. I think it's way deeper than people are looking at. I think people see, oh, haha, it's comic relief. When's he going to get skinny? And then he didn't, and they're like, wow, it's just a dragged-out joke. You don't realize the ramifications of, like, Thor's position.
No, exactly. And that's my biggest reason for my opinions changing. And dude, it's movies, it's life. People's opinions on things can change, people. Just because I initially felt one way doesn't mean my opinion can't change. The world isn't black and white as hard as everybody.
Anybody who says otherwise is irrelevant.
Exactly.
You get new information presented to you, and who are you to double down and white knuckle and be like, no, I'm still right.
I said this one thing, so that's how I feel. Like,
it's selective ignorance to be told something, to be not only just told, but a lot of the times proven. You know, this has gone a little deeper than Avengers, but be proven something's true, and then to still be like, oh, no, I've been believing this, it's got to be true, here's some anecdotal evidence, you know, some stuff that isn't backed by science, but hey,
Holy shit, I know.
I've experienced it, so it must be. I felt this way, so it must be. That's
Cody,
it happens. I'm sorry, I'm going too deep.
No, I love it.
I'm gonna get us canceled.
I could literally see, I could watch in his head the subject go from Marvel to I know exactly what he was thinking about when he was saying that, and he's like going off on this rant, and I could feel the emotion coming out of him because of the second subject, not the Marvel part. And I'm like, I feel you, buddy. We can talk about that later when the mics are off. But as of now, we're talking about Thor's belly. So
we are talking about Thor was fat. I loved him.
But I also think real quick,
he's my favorite Avenger, so it was a little rough for me.
But it was, but I think they also slightly paid homage to the Norse mythology that he was based off of.
100%.
Because Thor was like a red bearded.
Get back in here. What you doing?
Yeah, come over.
Was Thor the actual name of the character?
Yes,
in
and so
Norse
is
mythology?
Loki.
Yeah, Thor.
Okay.
And so is Ragnarok, and so is Odin, and everything is like.
I knew it was Norse mythology. I just didn't know if the names had adaptations or anything.
Yeah, and even Asgard, all of it, like it is all based purely on Norse mythology. Holy shit!
So this is going into bloopers.
But and so when they like, if I remember correctly, the original Thor was a drunken, crazy warrior.
Oh! God damn it, Joel.
What do you do?
Joel, stop. Oh my gosh. You're good, bro. Just like that. Just leave it like that. Because you're grinding the material on material.
Oh. So it's probably making noise.
No, you're good.
So, okay.
I love it.
I'll restate the point.
It's hard. Whenever you're doing an hour-long thing and the audio is...
You have to let it flow naturally. You can't...
mess-ups, guys. So
that's the beauty of a podcast.
Yeah. Any type of long quality.
Like this.
Sorry.
So anyway, no, you're fine. So like I said, I think it's paying homage to Norse mythology because the original Norse god Thor, god of thunder, was like a chubby, drunken warrior with like a red beard and cared about like women killing shit and casting and I believe the beard was I believe the beard was braided too, and he had like dreads and shit.
He definitely looked a lot more.
Yeah, so
what you're saying.
So when in Asgard was now in Norway, right?
Yes.
And so where Norse mythology starts originating from is up there, and so you see Thor in a Nordic area, drunken with a big belly and a big beard and long hair, and you go and my first reaction, and not a lot of people know about Norse mythology past just like pop culture, but I was like, holy shit, this is exactly how Thor is portrayed in the actual mythology.
So you were geeking out,
and so I was like, yes, and I was like, this is so fucking cool, and so they tie it in with homage to what he's based off of, but then on top of that, you homage to what he's based off of, but also that showing the emotional grief that he has from Infinity War, and not only being like right there to kill Thanos, but losing it, watching his brother die at the hands of Thanos.
Dude,
like
his experience, his dad dead, mom dead, brother dead, friends dead, like entire
dead.
I'm happy they showed
world
him and his mom.
Entire world he lived in burned down.
Thor alone blames himself for the death of the entire universe, like half of the universe.
And so you see how not
because of that he takes that whole weight on. And if you see it, dude, this is why I what I was saying is my opinion changed very much so from the first screening to my third screening of Endgame on my opinion of Fat Thor. If Cody is army crawling, you're just gonna see your ass crawling through.
No.
That's
You want to?
as far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass. I know. But that's why, because going back to it, dude, I think, kind of like you said, on a bigger, you're fine, man. On the way back, don't shut it all the way. The door's like big broke. But I think it spoke to, this is going to sound, it could be pretentious, but I mean it genuinely. I think it spoke to a bigger play of, or a bigger subject of mental health. Like literally, I think we saw someone who had been through, and if you think about it, man.
He's been through hell.
The start of Ragnarok, it does not stop for Thor until the end of Endgame.
Yeah.
He is nonstop in battles and losing. Or I guess it doesn't end until the 5-year jump.
And almost like floating around dead in space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thinking that's when he
Watching his
dies.
brother die, his friends die, his
Watching
mom
all of
die,
Asgard
200
die.
Asgardians left with him.
Yeah.
And then Thanos comes and gets them and is like, your nigga's dead.
Yeah, and I think the biggest scene is actually, that's why I'm talking, when they're time traveling, you get Cap in that scene with him seeing Peggy through the glass. You get Tony in that scene with his dad, which I think is beautiful.
Oh, that was so good.
So beautiful.
That was the encounter that we needed but never realized we needed.
Exactly. True that. But also, you get Thor and his mom, which his mom is the one that, and I love the line when she goes, I was raised by witches, boy. I see with more than just my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Frida's so cool, man. Or Frida, I think it's Frida. But the part that I think speaks to the mental health thing the most with Thor is actually when he's back in Avengers headquarters and they're assembling the gauntlet, the new gauntlet, the Iron Man gauntlet, and you see him kind of break down and start tearing up, and you see Thor go, please let me do this. Just let me do something good. You see a guy that is so guilt-ridden, so desperate to fix things, to do what he feels needs to be done. When you see that scene next, you will see that Thor is pretty much crying. Cody just appeared, but he's like crying, begging Tony, please let me be the one to do this. Let me, because he alone feels responsible. He alone wants to be the one that fixes his mistake. Noble, but Tony says it best. We know where you're at. You're not in the best place, man. You're not in the place right now.
And you can see it with like they made it a joke, but like pure alcoholism.
Oh, for
you can see
sure.
it with just the toxic coping habits of not going outside, of spending all day cooped up, of just like isolating yourself when you're supposed to be the leader of this of this village.
He calls himself strongest Avenger, and it's like, no.
Well, you know what's coursing through my veins? Cheese
I
whiz.
think that's part of why.
So you like melted ice cream.
You look like melted ice cream on your left, Lebowski.
I think that's all part of why, what adds into his downfall, for lack of a better word. It was quite the downfall. But I think
that was a
what
hard
you're
5
saying,
years for Thor,
him
playing
believing
Fortnite.
himself as the strongest Avenger, he already had the strongest Avenger ego, and then to have that ego entirely stripped away from him, quite literally, like that.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot, man. And you can see it like when in the beginning of the movie when they turn the gauntlet over and the stones are gone. Look at Rocket's face. When he flips the gauntlet over and the stones are gone, Rocket just goes, oh no.
Yeah.
And then it shows Thor, and Thor is just staring down, because then it's like, not only did you lose, you permanently lost.
Yeah, you lost your
the
only
battle
hope.
and you lost the war.
Yeah.
You lost
Yeah.
everything. And that's when Thor... And like there were many times that we did the poetry snap throughout this movie, but I thought that was beautiful. So there's, like I said, the meat of this movie is the second act.
Yeah,
is where everything comes.
Real quick, little cool tidbit. How much money do you think was exchanged between Epic Games and Marvel for this deal that they have going on?
For the Fortnite reference.
several millions. I think that this has gone on for a long time.
Well, it has gone on for a long time.
Because it started back with Infinity War game.
Because Fortnite had Thanos in their game. Yeah, it was overpowered, which it kind of supposed to be.
Yeah.
Ton of fun, all that stuff. But then apparently, and this is anecdotal, but my little brother plays Fortnite nonstop. Has this buddy that he plays with, and his buddy his buddies.
Caleb plays Fortnite nonstop.
Oh no,
I'm joking.
I play
You actually
when I
talked
can.
about one of
My
your
little brother
brothers.
plays every day.
Noah.
And
Okay.
and he has this buddy that he plays with all the time. And from what he's learned, his buddy's dad worked on Endgame, and he said like months and months and months ago, the CEO of Epic Games stopped by, and they were talking about shit for like a while. And so like they've had this in works for what I've heard for quite some time.
Oh, definitely.
And so like not only did Epic Games get like Fortnite, like not even just like hinted at.
Immortalized.
Yeah, not
They
even
were
just hinted at.
straight
They straight up put it on the
Showed
screen,
footage.
showed Bright Bomber running around in what was it, fucking Salty Springs, like. And you go,
Thor
holy
playing,
shit!
He's like,
yeah,
Thor, whatever his username in, he's back.
something
again. He's bullying
69.
me. Yeah, something 69 is back. He's bullying me.
Yeah, and like
you don't
then-
quit this game this instant.
Yeah, it's Thor, God of Thunder.
Yeah, it's Thor, God of Thunder.
And-
He's
and
all
so,
big.
like-
that was a good scene, man.
And so
It's
like, but
funny.
they
I love
put
Thor.
the frame on Fortnite and then took it away and then put it on again.
Yeah.
like it was thrown out there.
Also, just so you know, again, that scene is something that easily could have been done in reshoots, but they filmed Endgame and Infinity War back to back. Like Captain Brie Larson, I almost call her Carol Danvers. That's her stage name, I guess,
Yeah.
or her superhero name. But she filmed Endgame months before she ever filmed Captain Marvel.
That's nuts.
That puts it in perspective.
That's
for you.
kudos to her acting
that puts it
ability,
in perspective
man.
for you. I would disagree. I think she's a fucking rock. I'm still not the biggest fan of Brie
No,
Larson.
no, but I just say like I don't think
She's bad as
I think she was very unemotional.
I'm agreeing with you. That's what this is for right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think
so.
in Captain Marvel she was very unemotional, and I agree with that assessment.
I think she's more
fully.
unemotional in Endgame, which
But
makes
I
sense.
think
It's filmed
Endgame shows
before.
her hardened, like because it's supposed to be her after Captain Marvel. She's gotten
I'm
used to
happy
her.
that you take it that way, but I swear to God, it's just her acting.
No, I know.
She said that she filmed Endgame like. Well, she was cast a while ago, but she said the very first experience she ever had filming anything with Marvel was boom, you're on set with 50 other Avengers and you're Captain Marvel.
So
that was her first
basically-
That's
experience.
insane.
She had to act out Endgame before she had even acted out Captain Marvel.
So
Yeah.
she hadn't. And so
She
that's
didn't have
why
an
I
origin
give
She
her-
story.
had to basically try to act as a character that had already developed before she had acted
Exactly.
the
Yes.
development.
Exactly. Which is why I cut her a lot of slack.
That's why I say
honestly,
kudos to her acting, because even if you don't do an amazing job, to be thrown in that situation, be like, okay,
Yeah.
you have to be someone who's already had their character arc.
Because Chris Evans talks about how he found out who Captain America was really during the Winter Soldier, which is the Russo brothers' first directorial effort in the MCU. So I also, again, I think that she is obviously giving it her all. I'm not a fan of what I've seen so far, but that's just my opinion.
No, I agree
But
with
it's
you.
like, and so, oh god, that big toe, bro. Don't get me started. But like that big toe. But like,
Oh, we also got to talk about the ladies.
oh
The
no,
ladies
trust me,
scene.
because we haven't even
was
gotten to that
tight.
act
Yeah,
yet. It's an hour and a half in.
yeah.
But you got to think about how all these characters have had years and years and years of finding out who these people are. They're finding out who this character that they're playing really is. She hasn't had that. Okay, here's your
Yeah.
solo movie.
I think it takes two movies.
Yeah,
I think it genuinely does too.
If you
I think
look
it
back
like
consistently, we found out who Tony Stark was in Iron Man 2.
I think Iron Man was Iron Man the moment Iron Man 1 started, bro, because that's just Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I would say his
That's
character
just
arc was
Robert Downey
really
Jr.
heavy, but like I think regardless, I think you have a solid point with the entire idea of like first part is introduction, second part is like seeing them truly deal with adversity after they've gotten their identity as their superhero.
But I also
Yeah.
think it's definitely situational. I think Chris Pratt is Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think
yeah.
he became
yeah,
Star-Lord.
but it's
in
a
Guardians
it's a
2.
group
But
it's a
like,
group
yeah.
dynamic, so it changes a little bit because it was like it was
an
more or less
ensemble
like
film.
because if you had like a Star-Lord origin story, then it would be different. But it's like you have to
That'd be so
tell the
dope.
story. You have to tell the stories of all these people. That's why like the trailer.
That's kind of his origin story, though.
I mean,
Yeah, it was
kinda
focused on
origin
him,
story.
but like even just the trailer of Guardians, the trailer of Guardians of the Galaxy,
Star-Lord a lot.
in that like they have them walking up doing their like mugshots and they're giving a background to them just in the trailer.
That's
like
true.
this is Groot and he's from here. This is Rocket and he's from here. This is Peter Quill and he's middle finger like
I didn't know this machine did that.
yeah. And so they kind of like give this dynamic in that movie of like we're introducing an entire new group. We're gonna give you like spark notes of what each person is,
Yeah.
rather than a full movie devoted to everyone.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
one of my
that's
favorite
and so
things
that's the
about
cool
Guardians.
thing. Yeah, and did so well. And so that's the cool
And the
thing.
soundtrack is undefeated.
Oh my god, dude! I have that
thing-
soundtrack on vinyl. Dude.
Before
Oh my God.
Points were
before Infinity War came out, I remember I had just watched Guardians 2, and I'm still, even though I don't think it'll happen because it's not canon, I want Star-Lord to become a god again. Like, I want to see that, like in Guardians 2.
I'm so on the opposite, dude.
But-
I'm so glad they got rid of that.
I mean, if it was like that,
I kind of
though-
hate Volume 2.
It would really
No,
put
but
Star-Lord...
You totally justified. I
You
feel
know, it would. I really enjoyed it, but I just really enjoyed the concept of ego. Like that movie, I watched it for the first time under the influence, and
What?
I had
Cuba whack.
nothing. Everything at it was completely legal. It was completely legal. It was around my 21st birthday, but I watched it my very first time in a cabin in the woods, basically in Leona Valley, and we're sitting there watching this, and I was thinking about it way too deep, and I'm watching all this, and I'm watching him become a god, and I'm like, bro, like this is a metaphor for. I can't even remember what I thought it was a metaphor for, but just watching it and being so like. Dude, what?
So I feel you.
It gave me a new perspective on that whole concept of
Ego
that,
was
I
a
think.
celestial, and I'm gonna put a pin in that topic right now because
That's for another time, because that's
that's
arguably what the next phase is going to get into.
What the next phase is getting into is the
he's one of
Eternals and the
those.
Celestials. So Peter's got celestial blood, but okay, whatever. So
And they still could go back to that.
and they still could. But so what was the last point I made as in regards to Endgame? We were talking about Thor and his whole thing. But what were we talking about? Just Act 2? And
We were
the whole
talking about Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay, yeah, her performance. Okay, guys, we hope you're just in and having a good time enjoying the show right now. There's been a lot of side tangents, a lot of different topics that have been brought up, but I've been having a ball.
Me
So,
Lance Armstrong.
yo,
Soccer. Sports.
soccer?
Got his ass.
Yeah, Caleb got his ass
I don't know
got
what
like
just
9
happened.
times this video.
I just
But,
want to make that.
a ball. Lance Armstrong.
We're dropping a mixtape.
oh my god.
Is this still happening? This has been in the works since like 2017.
That's another topic.
Different. That's different.
Oh, okay.
It needs to. But okay, so
two next
really quick, let's wrap up now, bringing it back
Act
into
two.
Act 2. We're going to end it there. I have talked enough about my feelings on Act 2. I love it. Act 2 is a fan letter to me. I could watch that on
Dear
repeat.
Dylan Jones,
Like, here
we
you
love
go.
you.
Thank you, Kevin Feige. Like, where do you like
Here's
to be
that
tickled?
nut you busted when you were 10 years old. We didn't really want it, but you can have
You
it.
can have it back. And I would gladly take it. Thank you so much. But like,
Don't look at me, dog.
I wouldn't look at him.
look at me, Joel. But okay, so do you guys, any of you, do you guys have any issues with Act 2, the whole reality time traveling? Wrapping it up at the end, what were your overall thoughts on Act 2?
I didn't. One of my coworkers, we talked about it. He had a problem. Well, his thing, he was like something he would have changed or something he thought differently was when they were doing their test runs and freaking out about how many PIM particles they had. He was like, why from the beginning didn't they just go back and take more PIM particles?
I had the same thought.
It's like the whole, like, if you have a genie, what are you going to wish for? More wishes.
Exactly.
If you have pin particles, what are you going to go back and do? Get more pin
That
particles.
was his overall thing. Was
I
just
agree.
I
Originally
understand that, but I
you do
also
that, there's
like
no
to.
story.
I'd like to.
the
I'd
thing.
like to justify that with the world's ending. This is our only chance, or the world's not ending. It's ended basically. This is our only chance. It's kind of like a heat of the moment thing, and then they realize later on, like we could have just gone here.
That's what
you
I
know?
told him. I was like,
But-
in the moment when you're that stressed out, he was like, well, they're the smartest people on the plane. I'm like, yeah, but they're under.
Yeah, and
but half of them are dust.
none of them are in, like, the right state of mind. And on top of that, you just fucking discovered time travel.
Yeah.
You're not
Outside
gonna,
of the Infinity Stone.
Yeah,
obviously.
you're not gonna sit here and just be like, all
Also,
right.
the universe was saved by a rat.
The universe was saved by a rat. That is
No,
what
no,
like,
no, no,
we
no.
didn't talk
Universe
about that.
was
That's all the
saved
way
by a
Act
rat.
1. So real quick, just to mention that
That's true.
One of my favorite parts of the whole thing is that in the one timeline where they win, the one scenario they win, One of the reasons for that is a rat walking across a control panel and getting Scott.
And we lost the third.
And getting Scott Lang out of the quantum realm, thus bringing everything to happen.
Audio pop. Audio pop.
Keep going. Keep going. Oh, that was a bad one. One more.
Friendship.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
Okay. Act 2. Woo! We done.
Diversity. So that's what I was gonna ask.
Okay. Now, no.
But no. So actually, my argument
See, here
on that
goes Dylan
is
speaking the not needing to be spoken again. Me and
Dude, I do
Joel
that-
knew. We
I
got
do
that
all the
connection.
time.
We're basically the same person.
My argument is the third time I saw Endgame,
I wish I
I
was
thought
so
about how
cool.
the rat saved the universe and Marvel's owned by a rat. Coincidence? But meaning Disney. But so
I was about to say Kevin
If you
Feige's coming to
disrespect
your
Mickey
head,
Mouse
bro.
one more time-
I have a tweet in my drafts that's a joke about that. Also, I have a tweet in my drafts. I sent it to Joel last night when
I wanna tell my joke so
there's a
bad.
callback to Iron Man. I was watching Iron Man 2 last night, and when he's giving Pepper the Stark Industries, he's naming her CEO. He goes, "Well, then I thought about it, and it's you. It's always been you." And then that's a direct callback to Endgame when he's on the ship. "I will dream about you. It's always been you." And I went, "Oh!" And you're talking way back in Iron Man 2. Nobody's found this yet. I'm going to tweet it, and I'm going to get famous again off of it.
Dude,
so, like,
I think-
and I made a video on it. But hold on. So that's what I'm saying. Before you say it really quick. I went back to when I saw it my third time, and I specifically watched, does the rat really save the universe? Does it trip something on the control panel? I have yet to visually see something that
He
proves
didn't step
that it's
on
the
anything.
rat. I don't think the rat stepped on anything. I
just
think,
brought
I
the
think
camera
rat
to-
is what brings your attention to the control panel, and then you watch the machine trip. Because I didn't visually see like a click, like his foot touches something.
Yeah.
I didn't visually see anything. I think it's just a cue for your eyes. But what were you about to say?
Real quick, just like a suggestion for your channel. I think an untouched mine of gold is doing post Endgame reviews of previous Marvel movies.
Oh yeah, going
Like
back
just
to the
just go
things.
back, just go back to like
you on Guardians 2 and Ragnarok.
like literally like go back to Iron Man 1, go back to Civil War, like go back to these
callbacks.
and look through it after
Civil
seeing
War's
Endgame and just go, holy shit, they referenced this, they referenced this.
This movie's one big
played-
reference, man.
Dude, they played a tie into here.
I say that we all, the four of us, change this video right now to a review of the first Hulk movie in the MCU with the different
I'll
actors.
tell you what we're not gonna do.
Fuck
Is
it.
what Cody just said.
I'm gonna
tell
be
you what
honest
we're
with you
not
guys.
gonna
That
do.
is the only movie in the MCU that I have not seen. Is the first Hulk.
You don't need
barely
to.
MCU.
That's why I've never gone back and
watch it.
felt the need to.
I actually like it.
yeah, I like it too.
I actually like
but
it.
it's not.
I saw it in theaters when it first came out.
So did I.
Yeah.
Day one. I actually like
It's-
it. I've seen
it's-
every Marvel movie day one.
It's
I
like
never have not.
right there on the border of MCU. It's like we're not going to give Hulk an
They
origin
tie
story.
it in at the very end. That's how they tie it in. That's literally because Tony Stark appears at the end of the movie.
I see, is it Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Tony Stark?
Yeah,
Okay.
he appears to the General Thunderbolt Ross, which then they bring back for Civil War and Endgame at the very end. But yeah, okay. So, anyways, going back to the
actual
time
movie
the
that we're
time
here to
travel
talk about.
stuff, I agree with you. Again, you can go into nitpicking about the whole. He's the secretary. Wait, no. That's Robert
Who's the secretary?
Redford. That he's the guy who's in Winter Soldier. He dies in Winter Soldier. General Thunderbolt Ross, that's in the Hulk. He is the guy in Civil War that presents them the Sokovia Accords.
yeah.
That's a different character.
Secretary
Secretary Ross. Yeah.
Yeah.
The secretary that they reference
Oh
in
no,
Endgame.
that's different.
That's
Yeah,
different.
no,
That's a Hydra
I was
guy.
talking about Secretary Ross.
Yeah, it's him.
Okay,
And
okay.
he's in the Hulk. He's
Yeah,
like the main general in the whole Hulk.
That never clicked. into
And
this now.
Blonsky, who's Abomination in the Hulk, they
Yes.
specifically in Civil War mention him by name that the prison, the raft that's in the ocean, he's in there. The Abomination is in the raft. So they do tie it in very well. They don't.
You said they mentioned that in Civil War?
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't.
Can
turn
you
a blind eye
imagine
to
they
anything.
put that back into
I have to
play?
go
trust
back.
me,
I've been
they-
planning on having a marathon for a while.
But anyways, I agree with you. You can nitpick. Why didn't they go back for more pin particles in the first fucking place?
Yeah.
I think it all goes back to, do you sacrifice that for the payoff? Which the second act is mostly them doing it in the first place.
And then you get rid of them. You get rid of the entire Stark on Stark encounter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
when
And
it's
that is
bad.
so
We talked about that when
beautiful.
we were gone in the bathroom. But potty.
Star
Some
pumps.
people take bathroom
Oh, you're
breaks,
talking about
Cody,
his
but
dad?
not us.
Okay. I wish I was here for that part.
So
but
again,
it is the
You went to
consequences
the
of having to pee.
bathroom?
No, right now.
Oh,
right
oh,
now.
oh.
But
No, I
so-
didn't pee once during the movie.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I've seen it 3
My
times, still
bladder's
no pee.
destroyed. Went to the doctor 3 times already.
You held it that long?
Bro, I was
I just
kidding.
dehydrated
I hit you
myself
kinda
and
hard.
didn't.
I held it the entire time,
Yeah,
and then as
I
soon
was-
as credits hit, after all like the beautiful signatures and everything, I was gone.
I actually didn't have to pee.
I understand that.
I paced myself with my icy. Yeah.
I didn't
so-
have any. I didn't drink anything during the movie.
I starved myself for
literally-
20. I fasted for 24
Yeah, he
hours.
went
I'm
crazy.
not kidding. I fasted. I didn't eat or drink for a whole day, 24 hours.
And
I
that's
had-
why
there was
that's
a
why
time-
you're leading this ship.
His Thanos cup that he was so excited to bring, which was a cool cup, by the way. I'm not trying to. It was a very cool cup. I saw somebody else with a Mario, I think.
Almost stole the
Didn't Mario have the Captain America one? But his very awesome Thanos cup, when I picked it up at the end, because he was sitting right next to me and I was just trying not to knock it over, it was still mostly full. So he was really
I didn't.
Dedicated.
The only time I took sips
was during the previews.
You guys don't know this yet, but I'm a crackhead for Dr. Pepper. It's like my favorite thing on the fucking planet. It courses through my veins.
Well, it's a good thing I
hook
know
an
that.
You got
ice-
a paper cut once, and Dr. Pepper came out.
Oh,
I'm happy I know this now. I got leverage.
bro, I hook an IV bag up. I hook up. Yeah, you do,
Like
bro.
Young Thug doing.
But I had the Dr. Pepper in it, and the only time I ever drank from it, I didn't even hear what he said. I was
Like Young Thug do with lean. He took an IV.
Oh
and he
my
had
God.
lean in-
Didn't he actually do that?
Yeah, it's real
That's
shit.
so-
Oh my god!
Alright, let's stop talking about that. That's getting way off.
But so yeah, the only time I ever took sips was when like I was like parched, and I was like, I just want to take something. It was like little baby sips. But
He rubbed on his gums.
so all right, we're back in this.
He actually
But,
just poured it in the cap and was licked it up, you know?
Did you have any problems with Act 2? So
Did
we're
I-
just going right back into that.
He's like, we're done talking about that. Did I have problems?
Act 2. Because we got to get into Act 3.
I mean, the only problem... I didn't really have problems. I liked Act 2 a lot because obviously it was a trip down memory lane. It was very cool seeing, you know, the oblivious acting versus the aware acting all at once, especially of the first part with Loki and all of that. I was kind of... I mean, as soon as they started talking about the Soul Stone and they sent the 2 to get the Soul Stone, I knew what was coming, but it still kind of just... It didn't sit with me too good just because I knew that they were making like a standalone for Black Widow. I should have said that a little more
Which I'm
clearly.
assuming is
I'm assuming
in
it's
the past. It's a prequel.
you know, which is
yeah.
actually really cool.
I think it's
going to
be the origin story
Me
that
too.
she never got.
Yeah, talking about her like
Russian
Soviet,
spy
yeah,
days.
Soviet Union like
They don't
background.
talk about Budapest. They talk about Budapest,
Budapest
way
all
too
the
much.
time. Yeah.
Well,
It's like
not,
long way
not
from
way too
Budapest.
much, but they reference
Because
You gotta see Budapest.
I don't remember what movie it was, but she said it's like Budapest all over again.
Avengers
It's Avengers.
1.
Yeah.
And then
And he goes, you and I remember Budapest very differently.
Yeah.
And then they reference it like 4 other times. Yeah. But, no, okay,
I think
that's a
when
good
they, I
point.
Yeah.
think it was on their way.
That was my-
To Voromir, where he's like, long way from Budapest.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't really have any issues that stood out extra in Act 2 besides like I was bummed, but that's not even really an issue. That's just part of the movie.
You guys don't think like the
know.
film ever halted or came to a slowdown? Because I personally don't think it ever fucking gave you room to breathe.
No, I definitely
yeah.
The only time I will, and this wasn't even the serious part of the movie, when they were at the diner and they were taking pictures
With the
of
Hulk?
the kids,
Yeah.
with Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
probably, like the only like few minutes. Like, all right, like you can learn.
I also think when Scott Lang comes back to he's back to the future, but when he's walking around the neighborhood seeing everything that happened, I do kind of feel like you could cut that scene out and that could have just been explained in like one
the
sentence.
part right before
like,
he went to find his daughter.
Well, say, but that was him
Yes,
leading his way
yes.
up to his house.
and that
so.
was also just kind of I think more to the effect of you know
You got
this
to
is what
see-
the world is.
No.
Well, you
that's
got to
what-
see
that's
how
what I
it
was going to
comes.
justify it
Yeah.
because I agree.
Yeah.
One could argue. Because when you're a director, you don't ever want to do it because it like I just realized your mic like the whole thing came out like right there, but we're fucking chilling. But
Because I feel like if that was left out, you would have the same exact counter argument of going, Ant-Man was in the quantum realm this whole time, and we didn't get to see his reaction when he popped back into
Exactly.
Armageddon.
Exactly. So that's why I'm stating more so. That's what I've heard other people say.
Well,
is that
phooey.
it could have been cut out, and I say phooey with it. I can understand their perspective. However, I don't agree.
However,
love
they're
that scene.
wrong.
I love that, and plus, I think Ant-Man's acting in this is the best acting we've seen by Ant-Man. His scene with his daughter, you're so big.
I almost
And he's-
cried.
and he's
I almost
looking
cried
it,
at that,
and you're
dude.
like, oh my god,
Paul Rudd
man.
did very,
Like,
very, very
oh,
good.
fantastic.
And the other
dude.
crazy part about that is they didn't even have to do a set for San San Francisco, that's how San Francisco actually looks today.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
Shit on the streets.
Yeah, San Francisco actually looks like that.
All my San Francisco viewers just unsubscribe. But trust me, if you came to see where we lived, you would laugh at us.
Yeah, probably.
But yes, okay, so do you have anything to add to Act 2?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe Captain America was by far the MVP of that entire time travel spot. Like, in my opinion, other Avengers had much easier roles of getting their stones, like Nebula and who was with Nebula?
War Machine.
Nebula and War Machine, they literally just went over there, knocked him out, and grabbed it.
Yeah.
Granted, Nebula got left behind, but War Machine had the easiest job.
Oh.
But then you go to
Getting
Captain
the
America.
stone was an easy job, but there was complications.
Well, yeah, of course.
With Captain America,
But with Captain America's, like, he had to go out in the open, be seen, put on a like an acting role of like oh shit, like I have to pretend like I'm not on edge because I just time fucking traveled. I have to act like I didn't just time fucking travel.
I gotta act like
At this
I
rate, bro,
existed
you have
here.
talking raccoons.
No,
half the universe
well, yeah,
got
but
dusted
still,
away.
even
Like, you
past
gotta-
that, his like the first part of the movie, you're watching Tony Stark look you in the eye and go, "It's not possible."
And then it was
I've
possible.
tried. It's not possible. And then next thing you know, you're in this universe where you see yourself, and so
And he's from the
and so
1940s.
like him,
Like,
yeah,
Not
and,
only was he back in time having to act normal, he was in time that was stolen from him.
yeah.
He was in time that he was frozen. Like he.
Well, no, that wasn't him
Well,
frozen.
in 2012.
That was him. That was him in New York
you're talking
during.
about 1970.
Oh,
when
yeah,
he goes
my bad.
back to the military camp.
Well, no, I'm talking about right now when he's in New York,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
has to
yeah.
and he has to
Okay.
avoid all of them.
But
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But like when he, just like the fact that like they have this perfect setup, right, for him to reenact the exact same fight scene from Civil War, is it, or Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier.
From Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Soldier, yeah.
So the same exact fight
The
scene
elevator.
from
What happens in Winter Soldier?
the elevator scene.
Okay.
It's Winter Soldier.
From Winter Soldier, they have the perfect setup, the same actors, everybody right there, ready for it, and then you watch him use his memory from his entire character arc to lean in and say two magic words that avoids an entire fight that he never would have said in his life ever.
Yeah.
And you watch Captain
wouldn't have
America
done that.
say "Hail Hydra," and you watch him use this recollected information.
It made me
It was
like him a lot more.
perfect. And then on
Never
top
been
of
the biggest
that,
Cat fan, but yeah.
and then on top of that, he, oh my fucking
he
god,
got
he when he's fighting himself, and it seems like he's getting beaten, like this younger, like less experienced Captain America is seemingly winning a fist fight with him.
So Cap on
and then
Cap.
yeah, and then you watch him grab the scepter and from previous knowledge mind control
and
himself.
he said Bucky is alive.
Yes, that
That's
too.
what
When he
undoes
goes,
him.
when he
Yeah,
goes,
great.
Bucky
The
is
Bucky
alive.
is alive.
When he
The
was
whole
about to
thing
get
was-
tapped, and then he
Whatever it
uses
takes.
the previous knowledge to outsmart himself again
way
and
through.
again.
The whole way
Uses a scepter, puts him under a trance, and then walks away fine. Meanwhile, Ant-Man and Tony Stark are fucking the whole thing up.
They would have gotten it, man.
Without
but it was
Hulk.
the fucking Hulk.
And so
dude.
that and then, yeah, and then that on top of all of that stuff, the feeling that like Marvel time and time again sits there and gives you this smile on your face that no other movie does, because they take this iconic ending from the first Avengers ever and then go, want to see what happens seconds after?
Yep.
Want to see what it felt like in the real life, as if it was a real life? Want to see the
Exactly.
behind the scenes? Like
I love that.
seeing that.
Yeah,
I was like,
seeing what didn't happen.
Yeah,
all
you
of a
got-
sudden, you feel like there's more movie to Avengers 1.
exactly.
And you're like,
You get this
whoa.
They were
deeper
inside,
sense of the entire
hit
event.
house, they're
It
inside
pulls
the
it-
elevator with Loki's.
Yeah, you get to see what
It,
happened.
it gives a sense of universe rather
Yeah,
than a sense of this
exactly.
is a movie. It gives a sense of
This
this,
is
is
a-
your window into something that is really happening. Even
Yeah.
though we know better, it's so much more
so
immersive.
personal.
So much more
Way more
immersive.
immersive.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect word to use for it, and it's like
that word.
It,
I
Thank
don't
you,
know what it
guys.
means,
When-
but it's
when
the
they
word.
put
It
that
means
in
you're
there.
immersed.
when they put that in there, you go, holy fuck, these characters existed outside of the movie. When the frame cut and the credits rolled, they're still locking Loki up.
Yeah.
They're still encountering all these
guys, we could
shield
pause here all
agents.
day.
Yeah, like stuff like that, and you go, holy fuck, and you watch like Stark and get involved with his dad. And you go, holy shit, this guy who's been like Mr. Stark the whole time, this Howard Stark, who we just are only getting like bits and pieces of, you get to encounter his personality. You get to firsthand experience his persona, this legendary character in Marvel who never got screen time, who just set up all this stuff.
First Avenger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like never got like strong.
He never had that conversation.
Yeah. First
You got a
Avenger,
glimpse of
Howard is
who-
one of the main characters.
Yeah.
But he's super
Okay.
young.
He
Yeah.
gives Captain America the shield.
he's one of the main characters in
Okay,
the
yeah,
first Avenger.
but yeah, that is true. But then you get like
he's
the
actually really
You get the
cool
personal
character.
side of it.
yeah, you get but then you get like the to watch like Tony interact with his dad that he
While his
never
dad's
truly
talking
met.
about him, his
Yeah.
work.
Because from Tony's perspective, not that he hated his dad,
It's so
but
good.
he had a little bit of resentment toward his father right up until the point of he died, because they showed that in
And he
Civil War.
says, looking back, I just remember the good things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says in the movie. And in the elevator, he jumps like he's so giddy. He's like, I have a daughter. Like he wants to tell his dad,
Yeah.
I have a daughter.
And like
Dad.
he's so
Like, I have a
caught,
kid.
he's so caught off guard by the fact that he has to encounter his dad. He almost left the fucking Tesseract
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
Like that shows the smartest man like that involved in this group is so fucking like out of it because
Yeah.
he's encountering his dad who he never
And he
really
tells
got to
his
meet.
dad, he was like, my dad said something that was like probably one of the most golden things he said was, no amount of money can ever buy more time. And then he was like, wise man. And he was like, oh, he did his best. And he's talking to him, and he gives him a hug, and he just goes, thank you.
Yeah.
And then you're
Oh
like,
my
well,
God,
for
dude.
serving our country. And then it goes away. And you're like, oh my God. Was that necessary to further the plot of the movie?
Yes.
No.
No. But it wasn't necessary to enrich the universe as a whole.
Not even the universe. I think that whole interaction, that
Was
whole scene
for
with his
Tony.
father, is for Tony.
Yeah.
It's to make his death at the end, his send
That
off.
was
It
what
wraps
I
it
was-
up.
yeah, I skipped
it
ahead a
gives
few
him.
minutes.
It gives him that closure.
And as we leave, we'll say as we actually it gives him his closure.
So you
Why?
think
Well,
Tony
it
wouldn't
gets-
have done what he did
it
at
gets-
the end without that conversation?
So, as basically, what I believe is not only did they win and Tony can rest, but what I think is Tony getting that closure with his father and hearing his dad and getting that experience, it provided such a sense of closure for him that it was part of the reason why he was able to pass.
He was no holds barred. He was like, I can
ready.
sacrifice
This is
myself.
it. His story
I
had come to
love
an end.
that.
It made
And that scene, did it further the plot? Did it stop the movie for a little? Maybe.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining,
worth
it was
it. I needed
emotional, and it wrapped him
Dude,
up.
Okay.
yeah,
It
the
was beautiful.
fans needed
And
that.
talking about that, I'm stopping it all right now.
Well, I was going to say
gotta
the
go.
one last thing I
You
want to
gotta
put in
go.
before we leave this scene is a part of me wanted him to name himself.
Name him Tony.
Yeah, because he was like, yeah, I got a kid and I don't know what to name him yet. I wanted him to just be like,
Tony's a good name.
like yeah,
How
like
about
how about Tony?
Or
And
Anthony.
then like you could sit there and go yeah, and like have this idea that like like. I wasn't sure on a name, and then like this mysterious man that I just felt like I knew suggested Tony, and it's stuck in my head since, and so
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna go with.
They
Like,
It would've been cool if he
they
just
could
said
have
his
done
name
it
was Tony
funny
or something.
They could have done it comedically too by saying, I was kind of thinking a name like, insert generic name nobody
Like
wants
John.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, I was singing this. He's like, I don't know about that. Maybe Tony? Huh. It's got a ring to it. That's what I had to do,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would have loved that, but
Super
okay.
cool, but there was enough.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
yeah, there was more than enough.
Yeah, and so phase the act
I know you
3.
want to touch
Phasing out
Caleb
of it.
too.
Yeah.
I know, Caleb. My hand is on your virtual shoulder right now. But let your virtual. Okay, guys, and we are. Everybody, look at the camera. We are an hour and 47 minutes into this video.
48.
I think
we know
we-
people are watching.
We cut a lot of time in the beginning just like talking about bullshit. So I think we've done really well. Like we've gotten really efficient with how we've spent the time talking about
We're
each
talking
point.
about
we
it
talked about
about
the-
as long as it takes to watch it.
The ramifications of Infinity War and all of Act 1, we talked about that. We talked about the time traveling, the plot holes,
The
what we
intricacy.
thought of the intricacy and the memory lane, like Cody put it, of Act 2.
And we didn't get into
Now-
all of Act 2. That's crazy.
And we didn't get
We
into all of
couldn't-
Act 2.
we couldn't
We
touch
on
can't.
all of
Yeah,
it.
there's just too much, man. Act 2 is that's the movie. To me, Act 2 is the movie.
It could have its own video.
But then,
Act 2 is definitely the most beefy part.
yes. And then Act 3.
Oh.
And this is everything that everyone has ever wanted from the end
gonna
of the
hit you up
Infinity
for,
Saga.
samples.
I will tell you one thing, man. I thought that if we were lucky, we would see all of the Avengers together fighting Thanos. I thought realistically we would probably see the big three, Thor, Cap, and Iron Man, fight Thanos.
Which we did.
Never in my fucking wildest dreams did I ever think that every fucking goddamn character
Almost.
from the MCU would be in this war.
Except Quicksilver.
Bro, the moment...
And the scrolls.
I said that for Caleb.
And the scrolls.
Bro,
I was waiting for that.
Black Widow wasn't there.
Howard the fucking Duck is in
Yeah.
this end scene.
I
Look for him.
saw a screenshot.
He's with the Ravagers when they walk through the portal, man. So let me talk about this, dude. I gotta say this for my own nerdgasm self. I
Who's
gotta
with
get
the
this out,
Ravagers?
dude.
Howard
The Duck. He's with the Ravagers, bro.
Howard the Duck.
This shot, okay. Cap, if you look, he has a slash in his arm. Thanos has just bombed Avengers headquarters. Everybody's in disarray. People are buried under the rubble.
I thought people were gonna die there.
I thought some of them was gonna be the end for some. Hulk is messed up. Also, Hulk snapping the gauntlet. So awesome.
That's about how Act 3 begins.
What character would you think was gonna unsnap? Not the Hulk.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, it makes complete sense.
I thought it was gonna
Complete
be.
sense.
I don't know who I thought it was gonna be either.
Well, going into it, you didn't even know if they were really going to unsnap, but that's really what they did. It makes sense. Going past that, I think we can all agree, very cool that they
And
made
it's very
Hulk did it.
yeah.
Very makes sense. I thought it was satisfying, and it added a whole new
It was
layer
heroic
to
too.
Bruce.
It was
Very
kind of. It
heroic.
was kind
It
of
was
like
like a-
his
like,
redemption.
He even
Yeah.
says it. The camera goes in on his face. It's almost as if I was made for this.
Yeah.
Because he's made of
Because
gamma.
it was mostly gamma.
Yeah.
Dude, that
love
was poetic. I
Love
love
that, man.
that.
The
I
whole movie's
love
poetic.
the what are we dubbing the Avengers Gauntlet? Just that, the Avengers Gauntlet, or the Iron Man Gauntlet? Like, is there a name
You
for
can just,
that?
I mean, you can just call it the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah,
Or
I
just-
think anything with
Infinity
Infinity
Gauntlet
Stones on it.
plus
You could call it the Iron Gauntlet.
the
Let's just call
Iron.
it the
Okay,
Iron
so the
Gauntlet.
new Iron Gauntlet, I thought the way that it was like a small human-sized
And it
glove,
adjusted to his
that
body.
was so, because I thought it looked dope as just a human size. I was like, yo, that's tight. And then all this stuff, I was like, ooh,
That's where Star Tech
dope.
is at now.
Hell
but
yeah.
okay, so
Nanotechnology.
I'm gonna set the scene right here, and
not
I'm gonna
magic,
give you
Dylan.
I'm gonna give you all goosebumps right now. That's a whole other video. We'll get into. I'm gonna give you goosebumps because I'm gonna make you want to see this movie again in like the next 20 seconds.
dude.
Okay, this is what I want on constant loop in every TV in my house. This is the poster that I want to look at on my ceiling every night when I kiss it goodnight. And this is the shot of Captain America getting up, the only Avenger left standing, getting up with a broken shield in half.
Looking at everything.
He's got a full slash in his arm. Tightens his shield. The army of Thanos comes down. There is a canyon of debris that's formed from the
Light
missiles.
rays.
Light ray coming down on Captain America. The camera turns. It is Captain America alone,
By himself.
facing off
The-
against fucking Thanos
And his
all of
entire
Thanos.
army.
The
kids.
Chitauri, the Black Order, the Outriders, everyone.
And it's the
they're called them the
first-
space apes, the big giant like.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what
They're
they're
the shits
just,
that were chasing Clint.
no, those are the Outriders.
Okay.
This people are calling them the space apes.
I
It's
also
the
very much like that scene though.
yeah,
Me too.
that's very Aliens reminiscent from the 70s or the 80s or whatever. But no, it's the Chitauri beasts, the ones that Falcon kills with his wings.
Oh.
Those big things. They're calling them the space apes or whatever because they're just big beasts
Yeah.
or whatever. But dude, that whole scene and
That
then,
shot.
and the whole
And
shot,
I-
the light ray, Captain America. Which I was gonna. This harkens back to what you said. I can't believe how far we're still in. God, I love this battery, man. But Captain America, this is Cap and Iron Man's movie, 100%. But the one thing this movie did, which I fucking loved, is this movie cemented Captain America as the leader of the Avengers.
Yeah, because he's the
he
first
always is.
Avenger. You have
He
the
is
first Avenger
Yeah.
fighting-
And he gives the pep talk before they time travel, and Rocket says, "This guy is good." He stands up. Even Iron Man back in New York, he says when they're about to travel back to 1970, he goes, "Cap, it's your call." Cap is the leader of the Avengers. He always has been. That is that role, okay? And then this moment of just Cap, his mindset
feel
is,
like-
this is, I will take you all on if that's what it
Yeah,
takes.
until
he has no
over
doubt,
my
I
dead
can
body.
do this all day.
Yeah, and
he's going for it.
My
Dude,
coworker
fucking
and I,
goosebumps.
dude, my coworker and I, like, he pulled up that shot, and we just sat there and just like fucking
Oh,
like scoffed.
The greatest
like, we're
scene
just,
of the fucking MCU, and then Cap on your left Call
That
back
was
to the
so
Winter Soldier.
dope.
Calling back to the Winter Soldier when Cap would run past Sam on your left. On your left. And Sam
That
would
was
go,
the-
I know,
that was
I
the
know.
first
Did you
scene
know
in that
that?
movie.
Did that catch?
It didn't click.
Oh, that's a running gag in the Winter
The
Soldier.
very
is-
first scene is they're running around. They're at like some
In Washington, D.C.
in
Yeah, I remember
Washington,
that. I remember
D.C.
that
Cap
scene.
would run by and
And
go
Cap,
on your
yeah.
left.
Yeah, I remember that
And
perfectly.
Sam would go,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
connect
yeah.
the two.
And that's when Sam goes, Cap, on your left. And then comes
The
out. and
writing
you
in
see-
this movie,
you see
man.
Black Panther come out, dude. Oh
The
my
whole crowd
God,
cheers,
bro.
I
Real
love
quick, a
those.
detail I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but as he's like ready to fight this entire army, you can see that he wasn't prepared for any backup. That he
No.
was fully
He was prepared
committed.
to die.
He was fully committed to fighting that entire army by himself, because when he got the call and like got the little ring or whatever, he was caught off guard by it.
He was so
he
shocked.
Went,
So
he went.
shocked. And at that point in time, the audience had kind of forgotten that the Hulk had unsnapped. Because by Thanos
Yeah.
destroying
Oh, yeah.
Avengers, that's a total misdirect.
They
on
did a-
And then
purpose, dude.
fucking up
They want
Iron
you to
Man,
forget.
They
fucking
did
up
a
Iron
good
Man and
job
Thor.
Yeah, and then
making
Thor becoming
all
real
that
Ultimate
fade
Thor
away
with his
fast.
bearded braid,
Yes.
Stormbreaker, Mjolnir, and you're like, oh my God.
Dude,
Thor is-
hold on, real quick, before
as
we get
long as
there.
we're all on the same page.
Yeah, yeah, and so like it's just so fucking nuts to like sit there and like and see that like he could have just very easily been like turn around and notice that no one's with him, or like look for
didn't
some
even
support.
look.
He didn't look. His shield's fucking torn in half.
just ready.
He barely has anything left up there to hold, like to help him.
Yep.
And he's going, and then it's, oh shit, I'm getting a call. Like I was about to do this.
I'm not.
And
what?
then you get the support, and by the dude, we go to the mid like the very first premiere showing on Thursday night, and you watch Black Panther walk through that portal, and the whole theater cheered.
Doctor Strange, Spider-Man swings in, people were on their feet.
Yeah.
I'm not
Screaming.
exaggerating, like a sporting event.
Like
that
screaming.
moment
Like
was-
watching
I had
someone run to
tears
the
in my
touchdown,
eyes.
like
dude, fucking
end zone
tears.
touchdown.
You're up there screaming, cheering. My eyes are watering, and we finally get Avengers Assemble.
I wish he wouldn't
Yeah.
have
And he goes,
whispered it. That's
everybody
the only
wishes
thing.
he wouldn't have whispered it, but to me,
No
it
one
was
was gonna hear
way
him,
more
though.
emotional.
Yeah.
Because
Someone
imagine he yells that and they're all still walking through like, what'd you say, Cap?
someone drew a thing and it was Avengers, and it's this Ravager in the back, and he goes, yeah, and he goes, assemble, and it was the next clip is this cartoon, and he goes, what? It's so funny, bro. But okay. You get the scene, the Avengers Alan Silvestri music comes back in, the camera pans, you see Spider-Man take position, Black Panther put out his claws, Doctor Strange puts the Mystic back, the Asgardians, the Mystic Arts, the Ravagers, they have an Avengers
Mystic-
fucking army, dude. It's
Mystic
so
Arts,
good.
the Mystic Arts people from Doctor Strange. When I saw them come out of the portal, that's when it really clicked in my head. Like, wait.
And when you
Like,
see it again, dude,
this isn't just like this isn't how it was
They
before.
got
This is
everybody.
and Doctor Strange
full-blown,
says,
like,
When no Wakandans were
Endgame.
chanting,
Ibombe, Ibombe, bro. And then you'll catch it the second time. Doctor Strange goes, "Is this everybody?" And then Wong goes, "As if we need more." And he goes, or it's like as if there's more or something. And then Valkyrie on the Pegasus. Oh my God. Okay.
I was waiting
okay.
for the scrolls.
My
That's
biggest-
the one
hold
point
on.
I want to make about that. I thought the scrolls would show up and help somehow, but instead it was just she came back.
All right, listen. So I just noticed
You're good.
something.